Hello, hello. Okay, I'm just adjusting the sound for a moment. Oh, I guess I'll have to fix some of my properties. I figured out also what happened with like my mic and my computer. Luckily, I was able to fix it like around an hour, a bit more than an hour yesterday. So, um, yeah. So hopefully everything should be good now. I did adjust a few things. Let's see. Okay. I can hear myself. Well, actually, no, that should be fine. It's just on OBS. Let me test some things. How about that? Hello? Hello? Okay, I can't hear myself. Let me see if I can. I'm hoping I can. It's fine on the stream. I'm just gonna check if just like let me see. Hello. 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 Okay. Okay. Okay, we're good. We should be good. Welcome to our life beginnings and always. Yay. Oh my gosh, the last time we played this, we got together with Cove. Yep. Yay, Bert has a boyfriend. So I don't know if we do drive. I don't know if it carries, but I'm hoping it does. If it doesn't, it's fine. Maybe I'll carry when we get to the last scene of step 3, but we'll see. Like a lazy cat, you stretched your arms above your head and yawned, blinking your eyes sleepily. The day was warm and pleasant, and you were lounging on the couch in the living room, finding it difficult to do much at that moment. Your moms and Liz had gone out shopping, looking for some new items for your sister to take back and decorate her college dorm with. They had asked if you wanted to go with them, but you declined. For you, today was all about relaxation. Cove had dropped by to spend some time with you, content to join in with doing nothing. Yay! The two of you had been chatting idly as you lazed around, talking about the other things you had planned for the summer. You were sitting next to him. He sat on one couch while you sat on your own. He sat on one couch while you were fully stretched on the other. You were stretched out across him as he sat on the couch. Oh my god, I can cuddle with him! Yo, let's cuddle with him. We got together, so like, yeah, it's fine. He had an arm loosely slung around your shoulders, and his head dipped down against you, while you were nestled against his side, enjoying the comfort of his company. The day dragged on, and you found yourself yawning more and more often between conversations. You had almost dozed off completely, when suddenly a buzz rang out, disturbing the silence. Your phone was on its charger in the kitchen, so it couldn't have been that. Cove pulled his own phone from his back pocket and checked the screen. His movement had jostled you, so you tried to readjust your position to get it right again. It's my mom. After leaning forward and setting the phone on the coffee table in front of him, Cove hit the speaker button. Hey, what's up? Bert is here too. Oh, I like your hair. Dude, I like your hair. Hi, Cove. Hello, Bert. Hi. Kyra. Hey, Mom. You made a small noise in response. You're interrupting our own very important do nothing, you know. I hope you know you're interrupting your cuddle time. Small noise. You're like... Cove, I wanted to ask you if you had a plan for all your junk. Cove made a small outraged grumble, giving you a sidelong glance. That's not junk, it's important. Mm-hmm. Though, you couldn't see it, you could tell by the sound of her voice that Kyra was smiling. But is that a yes or no about the plan? He looked over at you, his mouth pulled into a tight smile. I'm still thinking about it, Bert. Well, what is it? I'm gonna take the phone off speaker so me and my mom can go over this. It'll be quick. Cove carefully moved you off him and took the phone from the table before pushing himself to his feet. He hit the speaker button again to turn it off and continued the conversation with his mom as he headed towards the door. The lock clicked again behind him as he exited the house, and you sank back into the cushions, idly trying to decide what to do next. After electing to grab your own phone from its charger, you resumed your position on the couch, tapping away at the screen. Your mind drifted away from thoughts of Cove and his phone call, with all the many ways your device could distract you. It was an effective enough way to kill the time, and you had managed to do various little things when the door opened again and Cove returned. He gave you a smile as he approached, so you figured the conversation couldn't have gone too bad. He watched as Cove strolled over to where you were still sitting. He crossed his arms against the top corner of the couch, resting on them while bending forward to lightly kiss the top of your head. I'm back. You gazed up at him fondly. You put a hand over his. You stretched up to hold his face, tilted and gave him a small kiss. Okay, so I guess this does carry from the last, story of, us getting together. Sure, it's this. A flush of pink stained his cheeks, but he didn't move away. His skin was so warm and smooth, he wished you could hold on to him forever. How did the call go? Well... He turned his head suddenly, running a hand through his hair and letting out an exasperated breath. He seemed nervous, but you couldn't imagine why. It's fine. Not anything to worry about. You raised an eyebrow at his tone, moving your head to the side to try and meet his eye. That doesn't explain what's going on. He shrugged and gave you a tight smile, trying to play whatever it actually was off as unimportant. There's nothing going on, just stuff I can't deal with later. Some other time. He was transparently avoiding the truth, and you stared back at him seriously, an indication that you weren't going to ignore what he was doing. Eventually, he broke beneath your stare, hanging his head in his hands and groaning. I need to make another trip to my mom's place. There's some stuff out there and I'm gonna use, so I'll have to go pick it up. It wouldn't make sense to ship it, and I couldn't bring the stuff back with me last time since I flew. Oh. Suddenly you understood what the phone conversation had been about. Cove was going to drive to his mom's house in Nevada. When will you go back? When will you go? Mom thinks it would be best to do it now. Well, I'm still kind of free, but... Cove pouted, giving you an unhappy look, and you could see the prospect was already taking a toll on him. I don't want to. I was just there and for even longer than usual. Why do I have to leave right now when it's our last summer like this? I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, I'm back. Hello.
He laughed, not knowing why he was being so difficult about it. You thought it was cute. He wanted to say, you can hack it, you can hack it. I don't want you to go either. He shook your head affectionately. You can hack it. One quick trip and it'll be all over. Yeah, I guess. Looking up again, you met his bright aquamarine eyes, finding a sad smile tugging on his lips. Suddenly, his eyebrows jumped and his eyes lit up like a lamp. You could come with me. What? You should come with me. I mean, I get that the two of us live next door to each other, and my mom lives in another state, but my trips are usually to spend time with her, just the two of us. But this time it won't be like that. All I'm gonna do is drive over, stay for a night, and then pack up in the car in the morning, and turn around again. Most of the time we'll be spent in the car, so it'd be good to have another person there. Plus, you'd have the chance to see my mom again and her place. Maybe we could even find something cool to break out on the way. You couldn't stop yourself from laughing at his enthusiasm. He blushed a little, reining himself in. You know, this makes me curious. What would have happened if I didn't end up with him and we were indifferent to him and we didn't have a crush? Like we were indifferent with him. Like, what would this scene look like if we're driving? Will it be more than just me going with him, or what would it look like? I feel like it could be fun. Please, could you think about it? Of course I'll come with you. I'll have to let my moms know, but as long as we've got nothing else important on the days we pick, then there's no reason I wouldn't be able to go. He grinned from ear to ear, thrilled by the news. He put both his hands on your cheeks, kissing your face all over. He having to bend down far to do so, but he didn't mind it a bit. Wait, how tall is he? I kind of forgot how tall this guy is. Oh yeah, he's pretty tall. Yeah, the story said he was pretty tall. Then he wrapped his arms around your neck, letting out a happy sigh. This is so great. I'll call my mom back and let her know right now. Oh, this is cute. You spent some time together going over your schedules and making plans for when you could take the trip. You needed to fit it in around both of your work schedules, which took a bit of doing, but came together in the end. Luckily, it was only a 2-day trip, so finding a couple free days in a row wasn't impossible. It wasn't long before the dates were finally set and all the plans were made. Oh my gosh, wait, sorry guys, I'll be right back. Okay. Up, up, up. You're excited for the trip, you were content with the plans, you were nervous, you were feeling unsure about everything. Nervous. You couldn't exactly pinpoint why it was a big trip and you and Cove would be together for a long time. No matter what you thought about things, the morning when you were due to leave arrived. It was cooler than usual, the sun barely peeking over the tops of the houses. You stood outside your house, on the footpath near the road, waiting for Cove. You were feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep and an early wake up. Your travel bag clutched in one hand, you watched as Cove finished packing up his car. He had organized all sorts of things, water bottles, snacks, and who knows what else. Cove insisted he had everything under control and didn't need help. At least he could rest easy, knowing what it was all taken care of. As you waited, you glanced over Cove's car. He knew it well. It used to belong to Mr. Holden, and when Cove had learned to drive, it passed to him. His dad had taken the opportunity to get a newer one. It was pretty old at this point, but you had served both of them so far. You just hoped it had enough life left into it to survive a trip as long as the one you were embarking on. The slam of a door closing made you jump. You snapped back to focus and saw Cove was walking towards you. He dusted his hands off on his pants and tilted his head toward the car. That's it. Ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready. He smiled and stepped aside, giving you space to situate your own bag where you wanted it. Once everything was safely inside, he glanced back at you. We should get started. It's gonna be a ways to go. Oh, he's so worried. He looks so worried. Ooh, I gave him a high five. High five! He returned it happily, chuckling at your enthusiasm. The two of you climbed into the car and buckled up, Cove in the driver's seat and you sitting shotgun. His eyes moved to you. Thanks again for coming on this trip with me. You're welcome. After checking the mirrors and starting the engine, you pulled out of the driveway and the trip began. With a small sigh, you got cozy in your seat and watched familiar houses in your neighborhood pass by. Cove reached over to turn on the radio. A crackle of static mixed with the odd snippets of song filled the car as he flipped through the stations. Mr. Holden's car was in good condition, but it was older. There was no way to plug in the phone to play music, so the radio had to do. Eventually, he settled on classic rock station before sitting back and resting both hands on the wheel. Is this okay? Yes, you know what I like. Yeah, it works. He nodded. He smiled, happy with the reaction. Time flew by, and with it, the scenery outside your window became more and more unfamiliar. Neither of you spoke for a good long while, but the quiet was comfortable. You had become all too used to each other's company over the years. Eventually, Cove broke the silence, clearing his throat softly before he spoke. It's been too long since you and I have spent time with my mom. I know she still comes to the neighborhood sometimes, but it's not even once a year. I'm always going to hers. I'm happy the two of us are doing this. Yeah. Your elbow resting on the windowsill, you gaze out at the world that was slowly coming to life as the morning rolled on by. The sun climbed higher in the sky, forcing you to adjust the visor overhead to keep it out of your eyes. Hey, do you mind reaching back for me? Cove gave you a sidelong glance as he drove, indicating with a nod of his head and a tiny smile. I want some chips, the salt and vinegar ones. That's a great flavor. I don't know how you can eat that. You didn't have a comment on the selection. Pretty mid. I think they're pretty mid. Just do that. Stretching out the seatbelt to give yourself space, you twisted in your spot and reached into the bag holding the snacks. It took a bit of effort to sort through the collection of goodies stuffed inside, but eventually the bag of chips crinkled beneath your fingers as you pulled them out and sat back into your seats. Here. Thanks. Do you mind opening it? His eyes lit up at the prospects of the snacks, and you shook your head in amusement, popping the top of the bag. You poured a few chips into his hands. You held the open bag out towards him. Want me to feed them to you? I'm for some reason thinking of like a scene, like he opens his mouth wide and we pour the bag of chips into his mouth, which would be terrible because he's driving now. I'll just do this. His eyes widened, the hint of a blush creeping over his cheeks, but he steadfastly continued to face the road. No, that's okay. Can you just pour a few in my hand? Yeah, sure. Thanks. Cove held out one outstretched hand. You did your best to have the chips fall into his palm, but some did end up on the floor. After that, you rolled up the top of the bag and stowed the chips safely in the bag again. When he turned to the front, it was to find Cove crushing the fistful of chips into his mouth, crunching loudly. Stop crunching loudly! No ASMR. He wiped his hand on his pants absent-mindedly before gripping the wheel and spilling crumbs all over the place. Oh, bro. You gotta clean that up. You're like a little kid. He laughed at that. How can you eat that much at once? I'm impressed. He had no reaction to that. You're like a little kid. He snorted and pulled a hand from the wheel once more to flick the salty residue from his fingers at you. No! Ew! With a gasp, you raised an arm to defend yourself. You shook your head at the mess of crumbs that fell from his mouth as he chuckled. See what I mean? The hours drifted by as much the same way as that, with the two of you snacking and chatting as the day stretched on. It was fairly calm and quiet, traveling along the open road, and you found little in the way of interruptions. At one point, you passed a "Welcome to Nevada" sign, and Cove gave a tiny cheer. He was in disbelief that the two of you were seriously all the way in another state like this. How long did this take of us getting from, I'm assuming, California to Nevada? Eventually, you had to stop for gas and made a detour at a small diner to grab a proper meal that didn't consist of chips and candy. After refueling both the car and your stomachs, the drive was back on, just as the sun began dipping beneath the horizon and bathing the sky in a wash of orange lights. Cove informed you that there wasn't too much longer left to go. You were almost there. He took shifts driving throughout the trip. He helped Cove stay alert while he drove. I like taking shifts. The route was fairly straightforward, and you'd had enough practice with driving to feel comfortable doing so. When night eventually fell in a blanket of darkness, the drive finally came to an end. Cove pulled into the parking lot of Kyra's apartment building, the glow of the car lights disappearing as he turned off the engine and let out a heavy sigh. Oh, we made it. We're here. The two of you exchanged tired smiles, having successfully and safely completed one half of the trip. You were relieved to have actually arrived and eager to get out of the car and stretch your legs. You took the stairs up to the building together. After a knock, you were abruptly met by a flash of green hair, as Kyra opened the door and immediately took her son in her arms. There he is, my gigantic baby boy. She squeezed him for a moment and then pulled back so she could examine his face. Are you even taller than the last time I saw you? Cove gave her a fond look as she patted the tops of his shoulders proudly. I just realized this is why we gave like options of what Cove would wear for like pajamas, because we're gonna be staying at his mom's house. Okay. You say that every time. Oh, you say that every time I'm here. It doesn't even make sense right now. My last visit wasn't that long ago. Kyra simply laughed before letting him go fully and ushering the two of you into her apartment. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling at her lips. Bert, it's so nice you came along with, and as a bonus, you both arrived in one piece. It's nice to see you. Kyra beamed at you both, and while you would have loved nothing more than to settle down and rest after the drive, you could see she wasn't going to let you go that easily. So, how was that trip? I admit I was just a pinch worried. You barely made it. I appreciate your concern, but it was alright. You felt the fussing was unnecessary. You let Cove answer that. Yes. Oh, we made it without a scratch. Kyra clapped her hands together, the bracelets around her wrists juggling. I'm so proud. I can hardly believe how mature you both are. Where did all those smarts come from? Cove ran a hand over his hair with an awkward chuckle. Maybe I got some from my parents. His mom looked up at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off with a wave of her hand. Let me check them. The menu. Actually, not the menu. Settings. It's allowed. No. Config. I don't know why it feels like the voices are too, like, low. Oh. It's already max, so. His mom looked up at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off with a wave of her hand. You have to be half asleep already, huh? I don't want to keep you up much longer. Early morning in the Anya Hosies. How do you want to deal with the sleeping arrangements? I've only got my own room in Coves, though. The living room couch isn't bad. I'll sleep in the couch, it's fine. Bert can use my bed. I'll just sleep on the floor in the room. It doesn't matter for one night. Kara gave him a skeptical look, her lips bent into a teasing grin. Oh, what? I wonder why I don't believe you'll stay on the floor when Bert is right there in your bed. Co's frozen. Co froze in shock, his cheeks turning dark, beet red, and his eyes narrowed, and he scolded her with a harsh whisper. Mom. Kara giggled to herself, but managed to give him an apologetic look upon seeing he was less than impressed by her teasing. Sorry, I'm just only pointing out the obvious. You blush, you laughed it off. He's had a long day. It's cruel to tease the poor boy so late, even if it's true. Wait, I kind of want to write it down. I wanna take that one. Cove hung his head in defeated embarrassment, while you and Kyra chuckled together. You're right. I'm just so happy you're here. I'll take the floor. I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. I'm gonna take his bed. Cove offered a small smile. Yes, your room is mine. No problem. Would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be there than in the open in the living room, even if there is a couch. Sure. I prefer if you were on the couch. Yeah, you can sleep there. Kyra giggled softly, drawing your attention back to her. Oh, funny stuff aside, you need to get some sleep for tomorrow. Seems like you're setting yourselves up to not get any. I know that sounds really captious, but I'm a mom. I have to say these things. Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Bird? Yes, we're responsible. No, we're not. No, we're not. Well, I am. Cove, though. Cove is, though, I can't say the same for myself. You simply smiled at him. Maybe you should sleep in the living room after. Okay. Oh man, I don't know which one to pick. Maybe this one. Hey. You chuckled quietly to yourself as Cove gave you a disapproving look. I'll leave it at that then, for now. Just remember that the walls aren't thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. Well, be good. Perfect. Kara clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly tinkling against each other again. It's only getting later, so I'd better let you prepare for bed. She nodded towards the hallway and gave you a small smile. I'll play hostess for a sec and show you where the bathroom is first, Bert, and where you'll be staying the night. Thank you. You hoisted your travel bag back over your shoulder and followed behind Kyra down the hallway. Cove shuffled along behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. The apartment was small but nicely decorated in soft, cool colors with plenty of artwork hanging on the walls to give it a character. It was stylish and exactly what you would have expected from someone like Kyra. After being shown the bathroom and wishing Kyra a good night, you headed into the room and found Cove already there. He had changed into his sleepwear for the night as well. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment, but with small ocean elements, you were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed here. All in all, the room was pretty and clean, though it was almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom. It does really look like a hotel guest room. Cove only spent a few weeks out of the year there, so it might sense that it wasn't especially lived in. What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? Mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. I know I picked the shirt, but I didn't like the other shirt. This is the better option, but I'm not. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like both of the shirt options for the pajamas. It's a great room. It seriously looks like a hotel room. That's sweet of her, you nodded. He seemed pleased enough with the response, and he gave you a small smile before opening the zip on his bag. When you went back to the room, you jumped in bed and under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. You waited until he was settled, and before you flipped off the lights, and the soft glow from outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out. Good night. The room grew quiet as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourself listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home. Cars zooming past and people out having fun, instead of crashing waves and the ocean winds cocooning your house in their embrace. Cove shifted around in his sleeping bag, making the fabric crinkle loudly. I've outgrown this thing. I should have checked it earlier, but the troop was kind of short notice. Are you sure you're Are you really sure you don't want the bed? Why don't we share? You drop the top. What do I want? No. But I'm really curious where this is gonna lead. But sure, why not? No, I bet they're gonna avoid the situation. I bet they are. It's big enough. Cove inhaled deeply, the fabric of his sleeping bag crinkling loudly as he fidgeted beneath. I told my mom I was gonna stay on the floor. He frowned, wondering when that had ever stopped him before. Did you really plan on going through with that? No? Okay. He hesitated a little, the silence stretching between you. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. You knew him well. The sleeping bag rustled again, and through the dim light you saw him stand and head towards the bed. Oh god. What an outdo. He took in a deep breath as he ran his hands across the top of the blanket, gathering his nerves as his eyes met yours. Actually, I changed my mind. Probably don't. Actually, don't. Don't share the bed. And then he paused, head tilted to his side as if silently asking permission. You nodded. He shuffled over them to make room for him as he pulled the bedding up and crawled beneath the covers, leaving the two of you close together, but not quite touching. You could just put like a pillow between you guys too, if that's what you want to. He exhaled a heavy breath as he lay down on his side, his hand getting comfy on the pillow next to yours. Your stomach clenched, feeling nervous suddenly. He was so close, you could feel his warm breath tickling the side of your face. He raised his fingers and delicately brushed the tips over your cheeks, drawing a shaky sigh from your lips. His touch was warm and feather-light, making you feel tingly all over. His eyes met yours again. You found yourself lost in them, the world becoming still and silent around you. Then he froze, his muscles tensing as he closed up like a clam, and his breath hitched in his throat. He attempted to whisper something, but it was completely lost on you. What's going on? With that having to suffice as a warning, Cove jumped out of the bed and crouched down on the floor, his head held in his hands as he took in a few deep stuttering breaths. Is there like a bug? He bolted upright in the bed, staring down at him with a mixture of alarm and amusement. Are you okay?
Always like this.
What? I'm fine. I'm sorry, Bert. Really sorry. I'm just so... He panted deeply in and out as though he had just finished running an entire marathon. After finally steadying his breathing to a normal rhythm, he crawled back into his sleeping bag and huddled down on the floor, his back turned to you. Sorry. What happened? Why did he jump? I have a guess, but I don't know. Sure, let's just do this. Right? Why did he always have to run away from you? Why don't we even bother? Let's just forget it. Wait, are we doing this in the bad way? Okay, wait, no. I thought it was gonna be like a blushing thing, but we understood. He usually needed at least one trial run before he could take the kind of step forward. What? Yeah, no, okay, yeah, understood. We can always try again. No, it's fine, let's just go to bed, Don't need to apologize, thank you for trying, I'm not surprised that this happened again, you didn't- AGAIN?! You don't need to apologize. And with a small noise, acknowledging that he had heard you, but said no more. With the event over, you laid back down on the bed alone for this night. Yay! Sleep! The next day dawned, bringing out the sounds of birds chirping happily outside the window. You open your eyes slowly, letting them to adjust to the light as you try to recall where you were, remembering the unfamiliar sight of Cove's second bedroom. You had woken up on your own. You reached over to turn off the alarm he had set. Cove nudged you awake. Rise and shine, bird. Cove shook your shoulder, and you groaned dramatically and buried your head beneath your pillow. 5 more minutes. We've got to get started. Sitting up in bed, you let out a yawn and stretched your arms above your head. You still felt pretty groggy. You're used to sleeping in longer than this, and the late night hadn't helped. Morning. The two of you were on completely different wavelengths right now. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes and your toiletries before heading to the bathroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered, sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey. Can you pull out the stuff in those drawers? He nodded, though you hadn't even looked up from his task, so you knew he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to his drawers, you started the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. After a while, it became clear to you that Cove was acting strange whenever you went near him. He was flinching over your presence. It happened a few more times before you couldn't take the awkwardness any longer. You dropped the stuff you were holding down in front of him and raised a questioning eyebrow. Is everything okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry about last night again. He quietly squeaked the second part of his thought about not staying in the bed with you. It's okay.
It's okay, guy.
I know you try not to mind or be mad at me, but I wish I didn't have to make you accept me backtracking all the time. He swallowed thickly, struggling to find the right words to explain himself. I do think it'll be nice. Felt nice, really. Really, it's just also not bad, but I've been good and fun. Laying together like this, being so close. No. His cheeks flushed to color and he immediately trailed off, his eyes firmly fixed on the floor. I get it, you will stay the whole night next time, right? It was the intense for you. Maybe I'm the one who I'm sorry to bother you. Yeah, it's annoying, but it's they signed up now. You're not an acceptance. I'm sorry to bother you. So you're not an acceptance, or I'm sorry to bother you. I want to save this. He fell at a fractured chuckle. You didn't. Please don't say you're sorry for that. You were perfect. And if you're gonna feel bad too, then how about we both let ourselves feel alright about it instead? I like that. Cool, let's get back to packing. With it more or less resolved, you went to grab some more items as Cove focused on the box in front of him. Once again, another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress with Cove's room, with only the closet left to sort through. You took a minute to take a mouthful of water from your bottle and perched on the edge of the bed, feeling productive. Before long, every box, closet, and drawer had been roughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organized and returned to their proper place. With a sigh of relief, you glanced around the bedroom and the work you had done together. Oh, we're done. Good job to us. I'm gonna change out of my PJs for the drive. Yeah. When the two of you headed out into the living room, ready to get everything finalized and hit the road, you found Kyra in the kitchen, pouring a cup of tea. Cove headed towards her, leaning casually against the counter that divided the two spaces. Hey, you didn't have to get up so early. Are you crazy? Of course I have to see you off before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold. She beamed at him and in all honesty, seemed more than happy to be up and getting ready for the day. Do you want some breakfast? I've got some muesli. Muesli? What is that? I'm gonna look that up later. Our eggs and toast. Oh, and some of the fruity cereal I used to love.
Chili?
Let me look up the definition of this. Muesli. Oh, it's like a cereal? Swiss cold breakfast dish rolled with oats, dried fruit, nuts, seeds, and honey. Oh, that sounds delicious. That actually sounds good. Okay. That's okay. We should really eat on the road. Oh, well, I'd like to eat with her. Kyra smiled sadly, a little disappointed, but she seemed to understand that your time was running thin. I thought you might say that. In that case, I've packed you some snacks for the road. Even if you don't end up eating them, take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home, and tell him I said hi. Cove laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than to polish off whatever food Kyra had prepared for you. Thanks, Mom. You really didn't have to. Thank you for the snacks. That's nice of you to organize this for us. It must be Mom thing to know your stuff. I'll have to eat whatever you've packed. You better save some for me, too. Kyra giggled, hiding her mouth behind her hands. There's plenty there for both of you. She returned your smile with one of her own before putting her cup of tea aside. Well, I'll help you get the car packed. Sure. The three of you got a move on, taking the boxes from Cove's bedroom and heading down to fill the back seat of the car until there was barely an inch of space left in the back and trunk. With all you helping, it only took a couple of trips to move everything, and you were done before you knew it. Then, it was truly time to say goodbye. You convened back inside the apartment, where Kyra took over the two of you with a quiet smile. It was great to see you both. Thank you for coming. She gave each of you a hug, and you felt a little sad that you hadn't been able to spend more time with her. It was good to see you too, Mom. Cove embraced her in return, the two of them holding onto each other for a few seconds longer. I'll miss you, but I'll visit you again soon. You better. Hey, we should make plans for you to visit us too. I'll let you know when it's settled. I'd love that. Kyra bundled all the stuff she prepared into the bag and handed them over to you. You took a quick peek at what she had packed. There was fruit, nuts, seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and some veggie sticks. Oh, good to see we've got some fresh food options now. The snacks I brought weren't. Kyra shook her head at him and let out a soft laugh, as though she wouldn't have expected anything else. I seriously hope you're feeding yourself better than that at home. Yeah, of course, just not on trips. I can live with that then. She looked over him fondly, her eyes at last focusing on his face and filling with emotion. I'm going to miss you.
Me too.
Goodbye, thank you for letting us come. We'll all be together again before you know it. You didn't see. No problem at all. You're welcome anytime. Kyra put an arm around you both, pulling you in tight to her sides for one final squeeze. Have a safe trip? Oh, we will. With a last goodbye, you exited the apartment, though Cove hesitated for a moment in the door, his expression distant. You weren't sure what he was doing, though you tentatively took a step towards him. Everything okay? Your voice seemed to bring him back to earth, and he shook his head to clear his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side. Yeah, let's go. With that, the two of you headed back down the car, ready to make the long trip home. Soon enough, you were on the wide open road with a car full of Cove's things and only one destination, Sunset Bird, California. The drive went as smoothly as could be expected, with the morning slowly creeping into midday as the miles flew by. After a while, you switched places with Cove and took over driving for a couple of hours. The day flew by in the whir of open road and sunshine, and before you knew it, it was early afternoon. By that point, you had already crossed the state line. Cove announced that he planned a little stop on the way home. He was quite pleased with himself as he arrived at the precipice, the Redwood National Park. Shaded beneath a canopy of enormous redwood trees, you drove along. When Cove parked the car, you pushed the door to get out, and the first thing you did was look up. Enormous redwood trees surrounded you on all sides, their massive trunks shooting straight up in the canopy of foliage overhead. There were too many of them to count, stretching on and on as far as you could see. You squinted against the sunlight, and that was peeking through the leaves and dancing on the paths surrounding you. It's great, right? He smiled at you from over the roof of the car before glancing around the place fondly. Remember the trip our families took here that one summer? It was cool going on the journey and seeing the forest in person. even if we didn't stay very long. And I guess we can stay for even less this time. Oh, but oh well. It just seemed like a good time to stop by. Who knows when we'll get another chance. His voice got a little softer at the end. It seemed to be bittersweet for him, being in a place he was so fond of, but not having the time to appreciate it fully. You were pleased? Oh. You were pleased to have stopped there. You felt pretty good about being there. You didn't mind either way. You would have preferred not to stop at all. There was plenty to look at, and it was a good chance to refuel with some snacks and water before heading out again. Thanks for bringing me here. There will be more chances in the future, I promise. It's better than taking a break at a gas station. Put up with the trees. I put up with this place for that, you. Koof smiled, shoving his hands in his pockets and dipping his head. No problem. The two of you walked around for a while, completely dwarfed by the sheer scale of the redwoods. It kind of put your view of yourself and everything in a strange perspective. You took in a lungful of clean forest air, listening to the sounds of birdsong and the cool breeze rustling through the underbrush, taking advantage of the space to move around freely. However you felt about being there, it was a totally different scene than sitting in the old car for hours and hours. Also like good stretching and walking. You wrapped in armor on Cove. You took Cove's hand. He seemed tense at first, but he didn't let go. Oh no, uh-oh. Hopefully it's like when he was like tense, hopefully it wasn't like bad. Eventually he intertwined his fingers with yours, slowly relaxing. Okay. Before here again, you couldn't help but reminiscence on what else had happened during the trip. You had taken here all that time. There were a lot of things that had reminded you of it recently. You looked over at Cove, who seemed to be lost in peace of the place, and you wondered if any of it crossed his mind. Smiling at the sight, you thought back on what had been a highlight of that long on vacation. Elizabeth teased us mercilessly on that trip, remember? Our families were so close. Remember how a bird stole your dad's lunch? Cove instantly started laughing at the memory of the bird taking off with Mr. Holden's sandwich. After all these years, it was still a once-in-a-lifetime sight. Poor dad, you can never catch a break. He continued chatting about the trip a little while longer, about the things you had seen and done and even eaten. A lot of the memories Cove had off the trip were similar to your own, but you were also surprised to hear of a few other things from his point of view. So much had happened that there was no shortage of things to talk about. The place certainly had a nostalgic quality about it. Your spirits were light as you ambled past information, boards, and picnic areas. But before long, you decided it was time to bring this short stop to an end and head back to the car to get on the road again. Cove sighed. You finally reached the vehicle, jingling the keys in his hand before unlocking the doors. I wish we didn't have to go, but we're going to be responsible and not stay longer than we should. How grown up of you. He smiled slightly, and with that, the two of you jumped into the car, buckled in, and he put in the drive. You were getting closer and closer to the town as the sun started setting, though we're still far enough away that the radio stations were unfamiliar to you. Cove twisted the dial this way, and that before stumbling onto a channel with a song he seemed to like. That was a rare gift from the fates in the sea of static, strange radio jockeys and creating tunes. His face immediately brightened at the sound of it, and he drummed his fingers along the bottom of the steering wheel happily. Sitting back in his seat, he bobbed his head and shimmered his shoulders in time to the tune, all while mouthing along to the words. Occasionally, he lifted one hand from the wheel to gesture with his fingers for a specific line. Sing along! Cove raised a pleased eyebrow at her vocalization. Embottled by you, Cove decided to speak the words rather than lip-syncing. Your voices mixed together, slowly creeping louder and louder as you belted out the words to the song. Every now and then, a word would be sung wrong, and by the end, you were both laughing too much to continue. The song ended, and Cove reached over to start cycling through the radio stations again. Upon finding nothing too tolerable, he flipped the dial off in defeat and leaned back to his seat with a sigh. You rested your head on your hands and stared out the window as the sky darkened, watching the landscape slowly meld into more familiar views. The miles went on, and any energy you had earlier was beginning to drain away. You imagined home and your family. You'd be together soon. You know, I've spent all these years living in Sunset Bird and taking a few weeks each summer visiting my mom in the second room. that's not gonna happen anymore, not really. I can still see my parents, but the way it all works between us has changed forever. He paused, the silence stretching, a serious look settled on his face. His thoughts far away. I'm excited to be on the brink of a real adulthood. I'm worried about how things will be in the future. I feel the same about my parents too. So many things will be different. I hope I'm ready for her. Cove's mouth pulled into a tight line, and he gave a small nod. You got the feeling that he understood how you felt. Cove stared straight ahead, down the long road. The path looked like it never ends from where you were, but that wasn't true. Eventually, he found a few more words to say. I think it's good we were able to do this trip without any parents or chaperones. It was just us. We did all. I don't know, I feel a lot more independent now. I feel a little more ready for what's ahead, yeah. Right, I felt ready for a while now. I'm not sure I'll be ever ready. The thought of leaving home, my mom's, it's scary. Cove sighed solemnly. The topic seemed to wear on Cove, and he made an attempt to find something else to speak on. So, I'm kinda sad about getting back. I'm gonna miss having you right here there tonight. He cleared his throat quietly, though said nothing more. You smiled to yourself a little, as hearing him say something like that out loud. I'm gonna miss it too. And with the feelings confirmed as mutual, the two of you fell into a comfortable silence. The sky outside grew ever darker as the hours passed by, stars blinking on light like tiny fireflies painted onto a canvas of blue. Scenery continued transitioning between open roads, industrial areas, and beach towns, becoming increasingly recognizable as time went on. You felt somehow disconnected from the world around you as you watched it through your window, your tired mind growing hazy. It was a strange, reflective feeling, but peaceful nonetheless. Soon enough, the world would return to you, and you'll find your own feet firmly on the ground. It couldn't be helped. Adventure would end, life could continue, but your memories would linger on. Damn. I guess that's like a good way to end, like, step 3. Damn. Okay, I guess summer ends. Move to the next step? Yes. Moths bounced against your window, attracted by the light on your room. A siren call in the slowly darkening sky. Just as the day was coming to an end, so too would summer. Liz would be moving back into the dorms before long. Luckily, Lee had been able to come stay for a short time before her own new journey began. She'd officially been accepted to her first choice college a few weeks ago. This was her last chance to see you all in person for. You flipped through the plans for the next few months, realizing that you didn't even know what you'd next have the opportunity for everyone to be in the same place again. It was hard to think that you'd likely be seeing even less of your cousin going forward, but you were delighted that she was pursuing her dreams. While you were still with each other, your family was going to have dinner together. As forever, the Holdens were tagging along too. You're going to get Chinese food. This dish was the tropical. I like the Chinese restaurant. It was somewhere your family had always enjoyed going ever since you and Liz were tiny. That long-standing connection made it a fitting location for our final meal out before Liz and Lee set off again. Technically, you were getting ready to go out, though your mind was only half on the task. It was a pleasantly warm evening, the kind that epitomized the vacation feeling, and you were in no mood to spoil it up by rushing around. It was strange to think that summer was coming to an end, yet you wouldn't be returning to school. The pattern had been in place for as long as you could remember, and had come to feel like a natural rhythm, as inescapable as the coming of the tide. This was the first time that you were going to be able to set your own tune. Whatever came next was entirely up to you. The future looked bright. You couldn't wait to start your own life. You felt nervous. Breaking from the structure of the old routine was scary. You could admit that. Yet you didn't want to be a child forever. You were going to hold your head up high and face the future. Mom called up from downstairs, steering you from your thoughts as she told you it was time to head off. You raced downstairs, looking forward to the evening. Everyone piled into the car. While it was marketed as being suitable to hold 5 people, in practice it made for a very tight fit. Your mom sitting in the front were fine. You, Liz, and Lee were squished into the back, Lee in the middle wedged between you and your sister. But Mom was an excellent timekeeper. Thanks to her efforts, she pulled up near the restaurant on time. The process of getting out of the car was slightly easier than squeezing into it, which much less coordination required to release seatbelts than to secure them. You gave Lee a hand as she clambered out from the middle seat, then headed into the building as a group. One sec. A waiter greeted you as you entered. Ma let him know how many of you there would be in total, and he went to arrange a table that met your needs. He returned promptly to guide you to your seats. You perched comfortably in your chair, your head held aloft as you viewed by today's good fortune. Your family settled down around you, all cheerful and looking forward to the evening ahead. Your drinks order had just been taken when the Holdens came through the door. You were pointed in your direction, though with Mom waving an arm in the air, it was hardly necessary. Cove and Mr. Holden came to join you at the table. As greetings were being exchanged, Cove took a seat opposite to you. It had been left empty by unspoken acknowledgement that you and Cove would be wanting to sit together. Mr. Holden sat beside him.
It's great to see you.
Oh,
Glad you could make it.
Hello everyone, you wouldn't believe how hungry I am.
you came into the right place then. There was some laughter, though. Liz groaned playfully, shaking her head at Mom's sense of humor. Growing up, she'd have complained, and Mom would have responded by making another comment. Liz had mellowed over the years, but she still made a show of despairing at the Mom's jokes. Her reaction to them had become a joke in its own right. Menus were soon passed around, and a temporary hush fell over the table as everyone read. Oh, menus. Menus. It didn't last long, punctured by comments about what people had eaten here before, and light chatter about what people were considering tonight. Once the waiter had disappeared with orders, Cliff piped up.
Okay. So I've got some good news. Kyra's making a trip out here tomorrow.
Cove nodded, turning from his father to the rest of the table. Yeah, we talked about it and figured it was a good time for everyone.
That's great.
Everyone reacted positively to the news, though Ma looked wistful.
If only we'd known. Here we are, having a big meal without her. If we'd waited one day, she could have joined us.
Mom patted Ma on the back, gently nudging her from the realm of possibilities and what-ifs back to the evening that was going so well. Chin up. Lee and Liz will soon be here tomorrow. We'll just have to throw another get-together and keep the fun train chugging along. Ma smiled warmly, taking Mom's hand in hers.
That's true. There's plenty to celebrate right now, but there will be more good news and good times on the horizon.
Right, and speaking of, that's not all we've got either.
Mr. Holden's eyes were alight as he sat up straight to his chair, face angled towards his son. Huh? He barely let a beat go by before nudging Cove with his elbow, pushing him to follow up on an announcement. He was the very picture of a proud papa. Cove shielded from the limelight, ducking his head down and staring at his lap as he spoke. Well, it's just I switched over to be working full-time instead of only part-time. Plus, I've been looking at apartments. There's a few I could choose from. Oh, he's moving out. He flicked his gaze up at everyone around the table, a smile creeping over his face. I'll be pretty busy going forward. Apartments. He was moving. Cove was going to move out his dad's house after 10 years. Excuse me. After 10 years, he wasn't going to be your neighbor anymore. Mr. Holden gripped out of one of Cove's shoulders and gave the loving shake. His excitement couldn't be contained.
Incredible! Cove's actually going to make it to adulthood. It's a miracle.
Mr. Holden leaned back in his chair, staring up at the ceiling in mock wonder.
I wasn't convinced I'd be able to rear a kid all the way to this point. But thankfully I lucked out and got the best boy a dad could have asked for.
Dad. Cove blinkered His vision, with his hands on the side of his face, temporarily blocking his father from sight, despite his genuine bashfulness, which left him unable to meet anyone's eyes after all attention thrust his way. He was happy. I was really lucky too. You're a good dad.
Come here!
Mr. Holden threw an arm around Cove's neck, pulling him into as close of a hug as the seating allowed. He rubbed his cheek on the top of his son's head, while Cove chuckled, and accepting the affection with good humor. He looked around at the faces of the company here. He'd been on this journey with everyone here for years, seen them falter and grow, and they had watched you go through the same. Now you were striking out on the new patch. Cove was leaving his family home. Liz was heading back to college, and while Lee was starting to at hers. You were all heading in different directions, to different destinations, some near and some far, but it wouldn't be long until you were all going your own way. Your heart swelled with pride for everyone. It was bittersweet. You turned your head to the side, wistful, not wanting to spoil that evening with your troubles. You were glad that everyone was succeeding, but the idea of splitting up gave you a twinge of regret. These people had been key pillars in your life. Days ahead without them, no matter how bright and shiny, felt a little empty, like a theme park after closing time. But you focused your mind on the sweet side. Hold on, I'll be right back. Hello. Okay, back to this. New adventures were still ahead, and you could encourage that optimism. Cove brought some attention to himself with a clearing in his throat and a small interjection. I'm gonna stretch my legs while we're waiting for the food and everything.
Sure thing, bud.
With a small tiny smile, he nodded at his dad, but the lightness to his expression faded when he moved to face you. Wanna come? He was attempting to be subtle, but there was very obviously something on his mind, something he wanted to talk to you about alone. You watched him with concern as you rose from your seat. Yeah, I'll go.
Take care.
With those parting words, the two of you walked about the place. He was trying to get as far away from everyone else as possible without actually exiting the building. You waited for him to talk. You were sure he would. Cove started pulling on the hem of his shirt. He turned his head back to face you, but it was an awkward movement. Well, I wanted to talk to you one-on-one about all this. You know, my work, moving. I mean, it was coming before, but now it's pretty much here. Yeah, it's exciting. Cove stopped picking at his shirt and he seemed to respond well to that response. He was relieved you weren't upset about it. I'm glad you think so. But then he looked down at his brows furrowed. You saw his hand shift away from his clothes, instead rub at his arm. Are you looking forward to it? I am.
I mean,
Well, I'm trying to be. He ducked his head further and you saw his face start to redden. But it's scary, I don't want things to end. Come on, you don't need to worry, you're going to do great things. So, you're saying you're going to dress up as the future for Halloween? What? Oh. Okay, sure. It's a little conceptual, sure, but you could probably make it work. Definitely not. I'd feel bad going around as something that terrifying. The mood felt a little better, though it didn't last. Cove then turned his head away and wrapped his arms around himself. He felt a sudden chill that definitely wasn't caused by the air conditioner. Oof, uh-oh. Oof. I think I typed it wrong. Oh. Oh, that's weird. Wait, not that. Let's try one more time. Oh, it doesn't delete. Oh, that's so weird. Why it's still there. I'm kind of confused by this feature. Last time when I did the ban for the bot, it like took the comment down, and now it's not taking the comment down again. I don't know what's happening. I actually don't know how to delete the comments too, because it doesn't really give me an option here on the chat. So I apologize for just the comment being there. I'm not really sure how to remove it, right? Honestly, I was just thinking, are you really gonna stay a couple? His words came out hesitantly. He didn't want to ask this. He didn't want to know.
that's...
I'm just not just talking about today, but forever, always. Even if things change later. Right now, do you feel we can make it? Or do you think we can't last? That one day we'll have to move on? He kept calm. You got mad at him for this. He was as worried as he was. Oh, I feel like this is gonna determine if we're gonna be together. I hope this doesn't really determine if we're still gonna be together in the future or not. Let's just do this. What if you grew apart? What if one day he just didn't want to keep up with his old neighbor? What if you both changed? Why did you have to bring this up now? You began to tear up. I just started crying though. I'm gonna cry when he cries. I don't know, Cove. I don't know anything. You should already know the answer to that. What? Well, none of these are good options. This I mean, true. This is true. Like you can't really know. You what? Fuck it. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna start crying. You blinked and see you felt something fall down your cheek. Cove bit his lip and starts crying. No. I didn't want to make you feel bad by bringing this up. Just, I don't know what I wanted. But I felt I had to say something about this. If not now, then when? One of the corner of your eye, you notice a nearby table of people just staring. Oh, no, look away. Cove's outburst had attracted attention. The eyes on you just made things worse. You felt overwhelmed, smothered by everything going on. You couldn't handle this. I need some air alone. Wait, no, go back. I don't like this result. Hold on. I don't like the result of this. Let's go back. Read. You have to bring this. I don't know, Cove, I don't know. Do I look like I can see the future? I'm just as lost as you.
So sorry.
Bruh, these not good options? Are none of them good options? They're not, none of these are good. Okay, I'm going back to crying then. Because none of these options are good. Wait, no, let's just do keep calm. You understood his concern. It was definitely hard to imagine what would happen. However, you didn't let yourself get upset. I want it to be forever. I'll make sure we are always are. I'm yours as long as you want me. I don't know. I'm yours as long as you want me. He looked at Cove, who seemed utterly touched. He had the feeling that he couldn't imagine not wanting you. Cove laughed with a delicate smile on his face. Okay, you win. I wanted to prepare myself for the horrifying unknown, but you're kind of giving me no choice but to be optimistic here. His eyes sparkled with mischief. Strong armor. Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh no, I can't believe you're being forced to have hope about life. I'm happy to hear that. You're welcome, you snickered. His lips twitched up at your sarcasm. I know. How am I gonna get past this? He gave a smile and then stopped joking around. Thanks for listening to me, Bert. It helped. He felt pleased that his anxiety had eased after talking it out. Do you want to go back to the table now? I forgot what we were doing there. That'd probably be good. With matching smiles, you both reclaimed your seats at the table. Both of you felt lighter, and it showed.
Oh, you seem happy. What was that? Yeah, it looked like we were having quite the conversation over there.
It's neighbor stuff, sorry. It's neighbor stuff, yeah. They're also neighbors.
I used to be your neighbor.
He waved off their questions, and you didn't offer any explanations. They still seemed curious, but caught the Cove wanted it to stay between the two of you and let it drop. Things relaxed when you took a sip of your drink. Lee idly tapped the table and got your attention.
I'm so excited to try this place.
Haven't been here in a long time. I hope it's as good as I remember.
All the restaurants in the area are pretty top-notch, in my humble opinion.
We'll see.
It was a challenge issued. Liz carried herself like some sort of professional food critic, and Mom snorted. Tough crowd, jeez, Liz. Ma giggled and chimed in as well, much to Liz's embarrassment.
That's right, Lizzie. Jeez. Oh, jeez, Louise.
Jeez, rude. Hey, be nice, Liz. You shook your head at all this silliness. Jeez. Liz put a hand over her eyes in mock defense.
I hardly say jeez anymore.
Cove smirked and turned to your sister. You leaned forward in your seat. Huh, jeez. Everyone burst out laughing, besides Liz, of course. She smirked. No one could ever accuse your family of being no fun. Night fell soon, after everyone finished their meals, and before you knew it, you were standing in the parking lot, saying your goodbyes and packing up the cars to go home. After the last of the chores were done, your family spent some more time together. The rest of the night felt like it was going to be by in the blink of an eye, and somehow, the time came to retire to your room to sleep. You pulled your covers up under your chin and settled down for the night, getting warm and cozy. As your head sank into your pillow and you closed your eyes, your mind drifted back to everything that had happened that day. Is it not? Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Let me try this one more time. It's kind of bothering me, but I don't know. I don't think I can do anything about it. But yeah, it's not going away. The comment's not going away. As your head sank into your pillow and you closed your eyes, your mind drifted back to everything that happened that day. You couldn't see it all now behind your eyelids, as though you were experiencing it all over again. And then the image of Cove popped into your head, and you smiled softly to yourself. You decided to send him a text to chat. You texted him to come over. Oh, you wanted to sneak out to his room? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Taking your phone from your bedside table, you lay it on your back and held it above your face, typing on a message to come. I just realized we have a PC. Yo! Wait, I'm looking at our computer. Oh wait, no, we don't have. Well, I mean, we have like the not like a fully PC like set up, but we have something, I guess. Hold on. Do you want to come over? You shoot on the end of your finger as he watched the screen, waiting for any sign that he was typing back. If you were being fair, it was a pretty odd time to have a meetup, but even so, you hoped he would. Your heart leaped as your phone finally buzzed, and you stared at his answer on your screen. Okay. A breath of laughter escaped as he messaged him back. He hadn't even asked why. You sent him a quick thanks back and put your phone away before sitting up in bed, leaning back against your pillows and waiting for him to come over. The stillness of the night became very obvious to you, and you started to hear the soft noises your house made. When you were all asleep much more clearly, each second seemed to drag on and on. You just wanted Cove to be here already. Finally, you had heard those familiar sounds coming from outside, sort of scratching and then shuffling. Next came a tap on the window. You hopped out of your seat with almost too much energy and rushed in to let the Cove in. When you arrived, you could see Cove smiling in at you from the other side in the dark. You slid the window open and stepped back, giving him space to climb through and get down from the ledge. He was in an amusing mismatch of pajamas and sneakers, and Cove chuckled when he saw you looking at the ensemble. Once safely inside, he straightened up and dusted himself off before looking at you expectantly. Oh, what can I do for you? You said nothing. Oh, hugged. Oh, kiss! Oh, sure, why not? We're gonna be ballsy. Clutching the front of his shirt, you gently pulled him towards you and met his lips with your own. He kissed you back softly before pulling back too quickly, looking a little flustered. Oh, was that the whole reason? He hesitated before whispering the next part embarrassingly. To kiss me? Is that a bad reason? It's not the only reason. It's not the only reason. He gave a small smile, held a great deal of affection. Let's talk about stuff, yay! The bed sank under Cove's weight as he sat down, his eyes firmly fixed on the ground. His hands shook where he held them in his lap. He was nervous. You shyly took a seat beside him, trying not to disturb his thoughts. I'll stay as long as you want me to. Really? Yeah, really. You can go home soon. You don't have to stay. How long do you want to stay? Well, to be honest, there aren't a lot of situations where leaving you is ever what I want to. I guess only when I annoy you and you need space. He chuckled softly, doubting that would happen anytime soon. Okay, you don't have to go anywhere. His face lit up as he settled in even more. I think we're old enough to plan our own sleepovers now. You snickered, feeling pleased with your decision to do this. Well, it looks like you might be getting the floor yet again. Okay, but there's no way you want to do it. I guess so, fine. Cove rubbed at his eyes and stiffled Leon, stretching his arms above his head. Is he just gonna lay there without a blanket and pillow? I should start putting down something to sleep on. Okay, never mind. I'll help you. He gave you a grateful smile, and the two of you gathered up a few spare pillows and blankets and set them up on the floor. When you had arranged them enough to be comfortable to sleep on, Cove hummed happily. Thanks, Bert. This is perfect. Then the two of you got under your own covers, laughing, before remembering you should be keeping the noise down. Your neighbor looked up at you happily from his little nest of blankets on the floor. He was honestly content. The night stretched on and you continued giggling and chatting, tuning out absolutely everything except this room and each other. You felt so light again, like you were 8 instead of 18, and the only big decisions you had to make were what you were going to have for breakfast in the morning. Soon enough, your eyes began to grow heavy, and the conversation slowly came to an end as you both fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, you woke slowly from a comfortable dream. With a small stretch, you opened your eyes fully to the sun shining in through the window. Shuffling onto your side, you noticed Cove still in his makeshift bed on the floor, sleeping soundly. You smiled, remembering the prior nights. It had been nice to spend the night together, getting to be with him in a whole different way. You could definitely get used to it. His eyes fluttered open softly before widening in surprise at the sight of you. As his memories caught up with him, he gave you a bashful smile. Morning. Good morning.
I guess.
I guess we should get up. He sounded reluctant, and if you were being honest with yourself, you were too. It would have been nice to have more time together, just relaxing and hanging out. Yes, yeah, I guess we should. He nodded quietly. 5 more minutes. Cove smirked and gave you an affectionate look. We have to. My mom is coming today, remember? I have to start getting ready. You grumbled in reply, but relented nonetheless. Cove shook his head at you with a small smile. You both pulled yourselves up and started shuffling around the room. Cove stretched his long limbs out and yawned before ruffling his fingers through his green hair. You watched him fondly until your eyes met and he looked away quickly, hiding a blush. So, that was fun. I can't believe I slept here the whole night. Yeah, me neither. I'm glad you did though.
Me too.
With a last shared smile, the two of you headed out of your room and down the stairs. Oh, he's not gonna go through the window. They're gonna be questioning why he was here. Like, Cole, why are you in our house? Our moms are gonna be like, what the heck? Laughing and chatting casually about your plans for the day. It was like he had lived for the whole time, or as if waking up together were as regular an occurrence as anything. Cove snuck his hand into yours, giving it a soft squeeze and making you feel all warm. As you hit the foot of the stairs, finding 4 different pairs of eyes. So we're just gonna... Wait, why is he here? Why was he in your room? Staring over at the two of you in various states of amusement and shock, your family was already up. It took a moment for anyone to speak, but soon a chorus of greetings shifted over. You scanned a place to find your mom's list only all together around the kitchen and living room. Hi, I mean, good morning. I got here, earlier.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Liz snorted with undisguised laughter, making Lee giggle along with her.
I've been out here for quite a while, never saw you come through.
Oh, well. Hey. A blush spread across Cove's cheeks, the pink tinge settling on the tip of his nose. You're also still in your pajamas! You don't usually walk around town during the day in those, do you? Mom let out a little laugh out of her own, and you gave her a look, to which she responded by clamping her mouth shut. Cove looked down at his outfit, and his shoulders slumped in defeat as he hung his head to hide his very red face.
You know, I always guessed you had been sneaking Cove, but could never prove it.
It's like, I knew you did it, I knew it! Mom nodded in agreement, nudging Ma's shoulder playfully as she headed over to stand beside her. Something I wouldn't have bet against. Liz tutted at the two of them and shook her head.
You've definitely gotten too comfortable with their sneaky rivalry. You still did good. You never got caught before you turned 18.
Lee smiled from where she sat at the kitchen table, waving a dismissive hand in the air.
Surely you can't be punished too hard for it now. I'm not so sure about that. Britt still lives at home, and I very much doubt that this is the first time she has let Cove in like this.
Ma crossed her arms over her chest, giving both you and Cove a serious look. Oh no, this was what I was worried about.
We may have to have a retroactive punishments for all that.
I'm sorry, it's not Britt's fault. Yeah, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Wait, why is Mom, like... she's, like, smiling evilly. Why is she, like... she look like that? It was my fault, not Cove's. We're both innocent. Yeah, we did it. And we do it again.
We do it and we do it again.
We're gonna do this. You crossed your own arms, remaining unremittent. Cove sucked in a deep breath from beside you. At the moment, your moms both burst out laughing, receiving amused looks from Liz and Lee, while you and Cove simply stood there dumbstruck. We're merciful, don't worry.
That's true, you did indeed get away with it. And we're not going to make the little bit of summer you have left miserable over bedtime rule breaking now.
Besides, you're in good company. We're almost certain Lizzie spent many nights sneaking the old home phone in her room and staying up till dawn. At least you were in your own rooms.
Excuse me, that's conjecture.
You exchange smiles before Ma turns to you again with a firmer expression.
They were in the rooms, but I do worry about you coming in that way, Cove. It's dangerous.
Especially because he's likely quite distracted and excited by thoughts of reuniting with Bert while climbing around in the dark. Mom joked, and they all burst out laughing once more, keeping Cove fully embarrassed. Cove leaned in closer to you and whispered quietly, a look of guilt setting over his features. I'm sorry, Bert. You gave him a reassuring smile. A knock at the front door caught your attention, and you followed several steps behind Mom as she went down to answer it. She knew! She knew! She knew her son was here. Mr. Holden and Kyra were standing together like they knew!
Morning!
Hey there! Surprised at that sight, Mom paused a moment and then she pulled Kyra into a hug. Meanwhile, Cove went through a process. Shock and excitement over her arrival rolled right into the awkward realization that he had missed her showing up at the house by being at yours. It's been so long. I know, time's been flying. Oh wait, I said wrong. Okay, never mind. Kyra's gaze slid over to you and then to Cove. Her eyes sparkled with mischief and her mouth curled into a smirk. And it's so good to see my son, finally. Hello to you, Bert. There was no stopping the blood rushing to your face. Your cheeks burned from your teasing tone. Continuing on his ride of emotions, Cove's face slowly reddened. He couldn't quite meet anyone's eyes, so he kept looking at his own feet. Well, it's not like anyone's surprised. I'm sorry too. Hi. You don't have. Hi. Smiling nervously, he raised a hand to offer her a small wave. Kyra chuckled, roughly amused by your reaction. Kyra gave his back a few reassuring pats, but Cove's face seemed to get even redder as she grinned. My not-so-little mister is spreading his wings. I can't complain about that. Mom immediately brought a hand to her face to hide her mouth. But a giggle still escaped. People looked at her confused, and then she laughed again, louder. It's just a really fitting phrase considering Cove's current attire. She pointed at the feathery wing, like decal around the collar of Cove's pajama shirt. Oh! Everyone turned their attention to Cove. He even looked down at his own clothes after the realization. That's so true, I didn't even notice. While the parents burst into continued laughter, Cove was clearly not as amused. You flashed him a smile and he visibly perked up. It's really nice to be back. Enough of standing around on here. Come on in. Oh, wait, sorry. Enough of standing around on here. Come on in. Mom moved aside to usher the group in and guided them to the living room. Before anyone could get settled in, Mom spoke up. You're all welcome to stay for breakfast. We still have some great spices and stuff from the farmer's market.
Yes, we'll be thrilled to host you.
There were eager nods from Mr. Holden and Kyra, but Cove looked around the room filled with familiar faces before speaking up. Maybe instead of staying here, why don't we go to the beach?
A scenic picnic.
Oh, a scenic picnic, eh?
Mr. Holden crossed his arms and contemplated the idea happily. Excited, Kyra clapped her hands together. Oh, we could really make a day out of it. Might as well enjoy the ocean while we can. Why am I mixing up the voices for the parents?
That sounds lovely, Cove.
Everyone else put in their own agreement with Cove's suggestion. Before long, both families dispersed, getting everything ready. Sandwiches had to be made, water, sunscreen, towels, and more needed to be gathered and packed. Plus, you and Cove both took some time to get dressed for the day. An hour later, both your family and Coves were walking down the old path to the beach. The morning was already turning into a bright and beautiful day. You honestly couldn't ask for better weather for a beach trip. The moment you laid your eyes on the full view of the ocean, you stopped and stood there mesmerized. It didn't matter that you grew up there. The sight always filled you with wonder. Hey, Bert? I was thinking about calling Terry and Miranda, see if they can come too. Everyone else is pretty much already here, so would your family mind? I can ask them. Already, you couldn't imagine any problems your moms could have with the idea. Cove matched a grin growing on her face. You're eager to see your friends join the fun today. You made your way over to your mom's. This feels longer than like the rest of the steps. Like this ending scene, like this whole ending scenes feel a lot longer than step 1 and step 2.
I have a question. Would it be alright if Terry and Miranda came by?
I don't see why not.
Ma looked to Mom to see what she thought, and she nodded in agreement. Mom then shot a glance over at Mr. Holden and Kyra, knowing that they had likely heard everything. Cliff, Kyra, what do you two think?
The more than
The more the merrier.
Of course, they're welcome with me.
Thanks.
Delighted, you nodded and turned on your heels. Cove was still several feet away, talking to Lee and Liz, likely about the same topic. But the baby smiled and you gave him a thumbs up, and the two of them must have also approved, as Cove quickly got his phone out and started making the calls. At that, you turned your attention to helping you at the picnic setup. Unexpectedly, your phone started ringing. You dug it out, curious to see that caller ID. Feeling your heart jump with excitement, you answered the video call request. It was Derek. It's so long!
Hi?
Yo! Wait, what? I don't know what voice to give him. Oh my gosh. Sup, Bert? The voice came through with much deeper than it had been when you first met, but still had the exact same amount of enthusiasm of a kid. Have you been enjoying these crazy summer days? Yeah, I have. It's been amazing. There's been ups and downs. It's been memorable to see at the least. I would have enjoyed. Damn. Oh my god! Yeah. Where are you, Derek? Where are you? Awesome! You'll have to catch me up on that.
But what about you? How's your summer been?
You were beyond curious to know what Derek had been up to since the last time you spoke. He chuckled, noticing your invested tone. Honestly, I've just been slammed with stuff lately. College applications and scholarships inquiries. What else is new? I bet you're not even more toned than the last time I saw you. You joked. Your only really struggle will be choosing which place to go. They'll be desperate to have you. Totally. He chuckled, turned into a sigh. You could hear his small smile when he spoke. I really hope so. Anyway, that would be amazing.
What about your family? Are you brothers being good?
My little brothers are little punks, but I guess they're doing alright. You both laughed at that. Mom and Dad are fine.
That's great. My moms are too.
Turning your attention back to your surroundings, you smiled warmly at your family buzzing around. Towels were laid out, and the chairs and umbrellas were being set up.
Actually, I'm out with my moms right now. Liz and Lee are here to visit too.
Oh, that's fun! But if that's the deal, I'll let you get back to it.
Are you sure? I don't mind.
Uh-huh, I'm sure. I'm not about to lose your number.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Bert. Have a heck of a day. Bye, Derek. Oh my god. I hope we see him more in step 4. Hanging up, the conversation left you energized and in good spirits. It was exactly what you needed to make this day even better. You hurried over to your mom's and helped put the rest of the food out. In moments, you noticed Cove at your side. Turning to face him, your mouth pulled into a hopeful grin. You waited expectantly for what he had to say about the girls. They're gonna come.
Really?
Your whole demeanor brightened, and your smile beamed. They'll meet us here later today. Shouldn't be too long.
I can't wait.
While on the topic of inviting people to join, you realized there was someone else you could call as well. You had gotten Baxter's number earlier that summer. Oh yeah, we did! You messaged him too. What comes on does not like Baxter. Let's invite him. Everyone else is gonna be there. You didn't want him to be left out. You sent him a text and hoped he showed. After that, you made sure to mention what you'd done. No one seemed to mind. Oh, Cove was fine with him? Okay. Once the setup was done, everyone got comfortable and dug into the food. You couldn't remember the last time breakfast tasted this good, but you attributed it to the gorgeous ocean view and soothing sea breeze. Morning swiftly gave way to the afternoon, and a very recognizable face came walking down to the shore. It was Baxter. He came. He pleasantly approached with a wave.
Hello there. I appreciate the invite to the party.
Of course, you're welcome with us. We brought plenty of towels and food and sunscreen.
Yeah, you're one of the neighbors. Kick back and relax with us.
Thank you. Baxter's gaze moved out over to you and Cove. He smiled.
Birds, Cove, long time no see.
Hi. He waved from where you leisurely sat, and Cove nodded.
I'm glad you decided to come.
So am I.
It was then that Baxter notices the faces he didn't immediately recognize from around the neighborhood. Oh, he didn't recognize. He turned up his charm even more from the introductions. Oh, he turned.
Excuse me, I'm Baxter Ward. I'm sorry we haven't met before.
Well, we're not typically from around this area, just visiting. I'm Cove's mom.
A few giggles escaped Lee as she watched Baxter carefully. When his attention turned to her now, she held out a hand.
Hi, I'm Lee. Bright's and Liz's cousin.
Baxter shook it and then took a step back. Lee's smile grew.
I'll remember that. It's very nice to meet you both.
After that, Baxter spent some time getting better acquainted with everyone, and Terry and Miranda arrived excitedly. Everyone's here except Derek! The conversation shifted to what you all would do next.
We could do a few rounds of volleyball. There's plenty of us now. Could I play? Of course!
Miranda brightened, delighted with this plan. Ma looked around to see if there were any other takers.
I don't feel like playing. I'd have to change, but it'd be fun to watch.
I could be the ref. My eyes won't miss a thing.
Volleyball's a good idea, but there should probably be something happening for those who aren't a fan.
Ooh, I have some crafting supplies we could use to make jewelry. We could even use selfie flying around the beach to accentuate them.
Oh, what, really? I want to make a necklace. I'd be interested in trying my hand at that too.
Impromptu crafting is kind of a party. I'd like to join too, please.
What does Ko want to do? I like making jewelry. I like jewelry though. Already, you are imagining various designs you could make depending on what Lee let you use. Your cousin shot up a thumbs up, clearly happy with your decision.
I guess I'll try making a necklace too.
Alright, got from the oh, hold on. Bleh. Kara got up from the table she was sitting on. Wait, if we did volleyball, maybe we could have gone against Cove. I would have gone, like, I would have liked to go against Cove. Well, she brushed some sand off her legs and then stretched her arms over her head.
I'm up for that few rounds.
Well, since there is still a free spot, I'll throw my hat in the ring. The things I do for my family. Thank you, Liz. I love that.
Liz got up from where she was sitting, and she could tell by her expression that she was already determined to win. He laughed to indicate for yourself, curious how the game would turn out. Now that plans were settled, the group temporarily split into two.
Okay, let me pop back to the house to get my supplies.
Anything we could do while you're gone?
Yes, you can start clearing out the towels for us to work at. And if you want, look around for the good stuff to use.
Roger that. While Lee ran back to the house, the group did just as she suggested. By the time she returned, everyone had their craft area ready to work at. Lee sat down on one of the towels and looked up at everyone eagerly. She held up 2 necklace options.
I hope you have all been thinking about what you want to make. I have for everyone a choice to either a chain or a threaded rope.
How do I pick? All I know is that I want some sea glass chunks on it.
That is a charming idea.
His gaze went back and forth between Lee's 2 necklaces pace options. You could tell he was thinking quite hard about it.
I can't decide anything for mine.
No rush, I'll leave the strands here and you can decorate it however you want later.
I suppose I'll use whatever I spot around the beach first. Fate can decide.
I think I'll keep it a classic and only worry about finding a decent shell.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing shells too.
Sea glass. Great minds think the same. How we can look together. Happy with their suggestions, you nodded. Hoof crossed his arms and chewed at the inside of his cheek. You weren't the only one that noticed. What's wrong, Cove? I'm not sure what to use. I mean, ideally, I'd want a shark tooth, but what are the chances I could ever find one? He does. What if he does? What if he luckily do? Mom smiled. You both looked at him sympathetically. Sorry, the rare downside of not having a shark-filled coast. That would make for a really nice necklace, though. At Cove's pouting, Mom gave him a little bump on the shoulder with her fist. Well, don't lose all hope. You never know. You might end up getting really lucky. Cove laughed. It cheered him up, even though he wasn't really convinced. After that, the little crafting club busily went to work on their pieces. Whatever they decided on using was attached in loops that were then slid onto the necklace base. Harry was immensely proud of herself when she was done. Hers was simple, but gorgeous because of the striking piece of sea glass she painstakingly searched for and found. Baxter excitedly showed his finished piece off to everyone. He stayed true to his word and used various materials he found along the beach. The necklace looked like it had good weight from the clutter. He always had an eclectic style, it seemed. Cove ended up using driftwood of varying lengths to design his necklace, despite not finding any shark teeth. He still looked pretty pleased. Mom decided on a medium-sized purple raindrop shell as the centerpiece of hers, and Lee went a few small Simnia shells. They both put their necklaces on sewn after finishing them. After combing the beach several times, he found just what you were looking for. It took a bit, but you managed to make a necklace you were satisfied with. It mostly had sea glass. Your group of crafters would also cheer for the volleyball players whenever shouts could be heard coming out of the courts. On top of that, you all would hold each newly made piece in the air, and the players would take a breather to applaud the creation. You really enjoyed searching the beach, trading supplies, and watching everyone making their necklaces. The crafting club was definitely a success, and you weren't the only one that had a blast. The afternoon continued to drift by, but the fun was still going strong. Occasionally, someone would head back to the houses to use the bathroom, rest away from this in a while, or to retrieve something that they needed, but they always came back. The beach was never empty, and there were always a new conversation to take part in, another game to join. At one point, Mr. Holden even broke out his pack of cards. He roped the whole group into a few rounds of good old go fish. There was only one thing that would bring this beach day to an end, and that was the day itself to end. Before anyone realized it, the sun began to set over the sea. As that happened, you were taking a break, sitting on the towel with your legs stretched out past it and your feet buried in the warm sand. You're playing a handheld game. Shortly, you looked up to see your moms approaching. They stopped in front of you and smiled. Hey there, kiddo.
How are you doing?
Good. They both sat down, squishing you between them. Ma leaned her head against yours, and Mom started rubbing your back soothingly. Nothing more was said at first, but Ma sighed contentedly. Mom looked at you wistfully.
We're both really proud of you, Birds.
You grew up to be more than we ever could have hoped. Thank you. It's only thanks to you two. Your eyes started tearing up. I'm not sure I deserve any of the glowing praise. Thank you. You were touched by their words, and your voice came out in a whisper. Mom chuckled and lightly brushed a bit of her hair. That's not something you need to thank us for. But still, I wouldn't be here without either of you. It's true. Ma wrapped an arm around your middle and squeezed you tightly in a side hug. Glancing at Mom, you saw how teary-eyed she became. She sniffled. You stayed there quietly and contently, watching the sun set with your parents for a while, until Mr. Holden called out to you. He was still walking in your direction.
We were thinking that... We were talking and think... We're gonna take a walk down the shore. Any of you want to come?
Automatically, you looked at your moms for what they were thinking. Mom glanced around from you to Ma and smiled. That sounds good to me.
Yes, that'd be very nice. My legs need some stretching.
Grinning, you looked back at Mr. Holden. You gave him a nod. Thrilled, Mr. Holden threw out a thumbs up and began heading back the way he came in a light jog. Oh, hey, don't leave us in the dust. Cliff kept going forward, but flipped around, walking backwards across the sand, so he could face you again.
Don't worry, we wouldn't leave without you.
Alright, we'll catch up. Before you forgot, you turned your game off and left it on the towel for now.
Ready to go?
Uh-huh. Both of your moms held a hand out to you, chuckling. You gave them each one, and you all strolled back to the rest of the group. When Liz was in reach, Ma used her free hand to pull her into it. Ooh. Liz shook her head, and but her mouth perked into a smirk, and she didn't resist. Together as a family, you followed behind the others hand in hand. Your feet squished into the wet sand as the waves rolled over them, and you didn't have a single care in the world as more and more stars began to dot the sky. Once the sun had long been out of sight, it was finally time to pack up. The closing of the day and the ever-approaching end of summer seemed to intertwine. It caused a quiet, reflective mood to blanket over the group. On the beach, Terry and Miranda took turns compressing Cove in a hug before moving on to do the same to you. You chuckled, still overjoyed that you got to see them today.
I'm sorry we have to go already. My parents are here. That's okay.
But still, I wish we could help clear this all up.
Don't worry about it. Just thanks for coming out today. It was cool having everyone here.
Oh yeah, I'm super glad we came. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Nodding, you turned your attention to Terry. She wore a large grin on her face and held a hand out for a low 5. You obliged.
Take care of yourselves, buddies.
After that, they walked away, waving to you and Cove as they went down the shore. Cove waved quietly back with a small smile on his face. You waved too. Bye, have a safe trip back.
We will.
Bye! Taking you by surprise, Terry jumped and twisted around. She kept up with Miranda by walking backwards. She kept the mood of your farewell light by shooting finger guns at you and Cove. Miranda bumped her with a hip. It felt everyone with a laugh just before they disappeared down the bend.
Bert!
Hey, Cove, could you come here?
Both of your parents were motioning for you. The two of you went to them. Tons of things ended up at the beach over the course of the day, so there was still so much to pack up, and the parents needed help. With a nod, you got to it, stuffing various things into bags and bundling them in towels. Once things were ready to go, everyone filled their arms with as much as they could carry. Absolutely no one wanted to be a back and forth kind of task. The walk back home ended up being mostly quiet. Each person seemed to be feeling the effects of the day. A cool breeze carried you across the sand and onto the road. There was a sigh of relief from what felt like the group as a whole when they arrived back to the neighborhood. Baxter carefully placed what he had been carrying on the ground.
Thank you so much for helping with that.
No, thank you for allowing me to join today. You all shared with me. Helping to carry it back is the least I can do.
Ma nodded and the others started collecting their things from this pile. Baxter, meanwhile, stepped over to you and Cove.
It really was a pleasure getting to know you both this summer.
His head tilted towards you and he smiled warmly. Baxter offered you his hand, patting his shoulder. Shuffling a few things, you were able to briefly free one of your hands enough to pat his shoulder a couple of times. Baxter chuckled, amused you did that. I think we did end up as good friends. I really enjoyed meeting you. Good luck on your next semester at school.
Why, thank you, and good luck with your plans this fall.
Thanks. Baxter turned to shake Cove's hand this time. He was a little incredulous for a moment, but then Cove eventually shifted what he was carrying and took Baxter's hand. It wasn't long, but it was a solid handshake. Baxter was clearly pleased.
I wish we had more time together, but it was still a nice ride. While it lasted, would happily do it all over again.
Bye, Baxter. Yeah, bye. Baxter nodded and walked a few steps towards his condo. He then stopped and waved. Actually, I found out Baxter is in another game that the creators of this game made. I don't know if it's a Yuri game, but he's in one of their latest games where you can date two girls. I do not know the name of it though, but I just remembered it looks like it takes place in the fall, like every fall season except like besides the summer. So like, and he's in that game. Bye, Baxter. We'll never see you again. Baxter sauntered away completely and disappeared inside the condo to return to his own things. His time with you and your family and friends ending. You paused for a moment, staring at where he went. But afterwards, you looked back over at the rest of the group. Lee and Liz were just going inside your house. You couldn't spot Kyra or Mr. Calden anywhere, but the door to their house was wide open. Mom approached you with an amused look at her face. Seems like we are holding up some Holden things. Surprised, you glanced out to take a quick inventory of what you were holding. Mom was right. Some of it belonged to the neighbors. Would you mind dropping it off now? Fatigue was starting to sink in, and you looked again at everything you were carrying, but you nodded.
I can do it.
Thank you. Cove took a few steps towards his house and stopped waiting for you. Good night, Cove. I'll see you inside, Bert.
Night.
You caught up to Cove and together you went over to the house. Walking in the front door, you saw Clara and Mr. Holden busily unpacking already. Things were scattered on counters and they were moving around each other, putting the items away. They both lifted their heads when Cove closed the front door.
Hey!
It's nice to seeing you again already, Bert.
Her teasing tone brought a little light smile to your face. You hefted the stuff in your arms a little closer.
I ended up with things of yours from the beach.
Oh, thanks for getting that to us. Oh, you can put it, here on the coffee table.
Mr. Holden pointed at the surface he was referring to, and you immediately left what didn't belong to your family there. Cove put his own things down on the floor just as his feet wading through everything strewn about to Raichi's parents. Putting your family stuff on the ground, for a moment you dusted your hands off and straightened up. You needed a second of rest and a minute to resituate it all. He went over closer to where Cove and his parents were. Kyra smiled gently at you.
Thank you for hanging out with me today. It was a blast.
You nodded, pleased with how things went in the end.
Thank you too. Every time I've gotten to come by, it's been an absolute joy. Things really couldn't have worked out better.
Mr. Holden took a step closer to you. Kyra moved aside to let him say goodbye, too. He grins.
Thanks for always being such a friendly neighbor, and not just right now, but for as long as I've known you. I didn't always make it easy, but you and your family are good people.
Bro, it feels like this is like an actual goodbye. But I know there's a step forward to this, and it's like an epilogue.
I really appreciate it.
At that, Mr. Holden reached over and gave you a soft pat on the top of your head. I'm really glad that you're my neighbor. You're good people too. Goodbye, Mr. Hall. This is like, oh my god, like this is the very ending of the game, but I know it's not. Sure. Mr. Holden's brows furrowed with emotion. Your words really did touch him.
Me too!
Mr. Holden was staring at you. You were the first person I ever met in this game, and it was really strange that you gave me $20, but thanks. Even though I didn't accept it to be your son's friend. His gaze seemed far away. Maybe he was looking back at you, who you used to be, the 8-year-old he had asked to be his son's new friend with a $20 bill.
Bye, Bert!
He smiled softly. Then Cove took a step forward. He gestured to his pile of things he had carried into his house. Don't worry about all that. I'll put the stuff away in a few minutes.
Right, I need to go do the same with my family.
I figured. Cove walked you to the door and held it open, taking one last check around to make sure you had all your things to bring home. You went into the road. He leaned his body against the doorframe, not following you out.
So this is it, huh?
Actually, that's not what I mean. His expression twisted and he shook his head a bit. He was trying to banish the pensive thoughts.
I'll just say bye.
Bye. The word came out in the whisper, and your lips pulled into a bittersweet smile. Everything felt too final for you. And this feels very final. Cove reached forward and gently cupped your face with one hand. His thumb trailed across your cheek for several heartbeats. Mesmerized by his blue eyes, you stepped forward, delighted to oblige the request he was silently asking. He met you halfway as he smiled into the kiss. It was soft, but longing in your chest ached, knowing that there couldn't be anything more than this. At least for now. One of his hands grabbed onto the door handle and firmly held it. He was stopping himself from coming along with you. As you walked over to your own front door, you stopped. Turning around, you spotted Cove right where he left you. You laughed quietly to yourself. For a small pause, you both stared at each other from across the street. Oh my god! You put the remaining stuff from the beach down on the step and almost tripped bolting across the road. The next thing you knew, you were diving into Cove's arms. arms, wrapping your arms around his middle. The force of it all knocked you both loudly in the doorway. This is so cute! Oh my god! But neither of you cared. You both held each other tightly, and you could feel Cove resting his cheek on the top of your head. My birds. He smiled like salt water and sunscreen and like home. It was a while until either of you thought to separate. Slowly, you made the trek home and collected what you left on the step onto your arms again. Things couldn't be dragged out any longer. After one more shared smile, you opened the door and went inside, shutting it behind you. Ah! A few steps and you saw your family gathering in the living room. They were still busy unpacking and cleaning. You added the things you brought to the pile on the kitchen counter. Mom stood up, rubbing her eyes a bit. She yawned loudly. I'm bushed. How about we finish the rest of the chores tomorrow?
Yes, honestly, it's too late for this. Please and thank you.
Ma put her hands on her hips and turned to assess the room. Ma was not one who liked to leave a mess about, but she sighed.
I suppose we can make an exception to this usual rule. It has been a really long day.
Liz grinned contentedly. Lee wasted no time in skipping over to you and hugged you in a side hug.
Good night. I hope you have the loveliest of dreams of you-know-who.
Lee ended the sentence with a wink and a hearty laugh. She let you go. Blushed. Lee's grin widened as you took the bait. Your face burned, even more realizing that. You ended up shaking your head because you were too embarrassed to get any real words out. Lee giggled and then she put a hand on your shoulder.
Don't worry, I'm not judging what you do in the privacy of your mind.
Lee.
Sorry, I'm done. Here's to us, Bert. Tonight, tomorrow, and forever.
Thanks, Lee. I don't know what I'd do without you.
I know, it'd be lonely.
Lee stretched her arms right over her head. She yawned loudly and looked at you with tired eyes.
I think that's my cue to head to bed. Crying!
I'll be right. Hold on. I think so too. Have fun sharing the room with Liz. She laughed at that, and Lee shuffled off towards the guest bedroom. Before you had a chance to do anything else, you could feel the top of your head being tapped. You spun around to see Liz smirking.
99, I'm heading to bed too. It's been a long day and I have a lot to prepare for tomorrow.
Exhaling, you automatically started fixing the back of your hair. When Liz didn't immediately walk away, you smiled softly at her. Everything okay? Her gaze moved away and you knew she had more to say. You waited patiently for Liz to compose her thoughts.
It's been a good summer. It was nice to come back home.
He nodded and Liz gave you a teasing nudge as she went by. Amused, you turned and watched her go.
Love you, baby sister.
Good night. Bye, old sister. Liz turned back to smirk at you. Chuckling, you gave her a small wave.
Sleep well.
You too. When Liz was out of the sight, Mom started up the next conversation over her shoulder. Aren't you heading up to bed too? I want to relax first. Desperately, you needed some time to decompress and clear your mind. You worried if you went off to bed now that you would end up staring at that ceiling all night. Okay. Ma came over too. Smiling understandingly, she pulled you into a big hug.
Alright, do what you need to do. I love you.
When you were done hugging, Mom pulled you into another hug. Their actions, basically handing you off to the other, had you laughing jovially. I love you so much. Good night. Mom pulled you in close again, like a side hug, but she leaned in to kiss the side of your head. Good night, kiddo, and sleep tight.
Good night, sweetie.
Night. After that, your mom's headed off towards your bedroom down the hall. You were about to turn the other direction when you heard Mom's voice. And don't let the bedbugs bite! You chuckled, Ma chuckling as you watched them. Oh, you heard Ma chuckling as you watched them go with a smile. Time has passed, but you weren't entirely sure how much sighing you sat up on the couch. It was a good rest, and all that your tired muscles felt quite relaxed. You got up, planning on going to bed, when something out the window caught your eye. Cove? Cove? Your feet brought you right in the front of the large window spanning the length of the back wall. You stared into the hills behind your house. As if on cue, your phone came on, alerting you of a new notification. It was Cove.
I want to hang out on the hill tonight.
Something inside told you that this was the right kind of night to take a trip out there. You sent him back a very quick message.
Yeah.
You went over to the front door and stepping over the threshold, you gave the living room one last glance over your shoulder. Then you shut the door up behind you. Silently, you made your way to the Poppy Hill. With light steps in the dark, you walked across the hills behind your house. Up ahead, at the very top, silhouetted beneath the night sky, was a familiar figure already waiting there. Smiling, you wondered just how he always got the fur first. He even had the advantage of living closer. Then again, and maybe it was only in your mind, but somehow Cove was intrinsically linked with this place. After all these years, it would be weird to scan the horizon and not find him there, as surreal as the shore without the sea. The distance between you and it was growing shorter by the second. Hearing the grass and earth crunch under your feet, Cove turned. A grin spread over his face as he saw you. You took your place standing behind him on the crest of the Poppy Hill, looking out over the ocean, same as you'd done on the countless times since he'd first arrived, when you'd found him on the very same spot.
Bert.
He had officially broken the silence, the spell that had held you both in place. You looked at him expectantly.
There's something I've always kind of wondered about.
He cocked his head, giving you a sidelong glance.
What did you think about when we met? I was just a kid you'd never seen before, bawling his eyes out on the hill next to your house.
He chuckled, his eyes drifting towards the sea beyond, before flicking back to you. The way his gaze pulled back to you made it clear that he was genuinely invested in this topic. Luckily for him, you remembered how initially struck you in the moment. It was as if he had only happened yesterday. Well, I remember noticing your very bright green hair. Hope burst into a genuine laughter at your reply.
I guess that's fair, it did kind of stand out.
Chuckling a bit, you continued to reminiscence about the first meeting. I also remember wanting you to stop crying already.
I remember that too.
He ran a hand through his hair and you knew his line of questioning wasn't at an end, even before he spoke again.
Do you remember what you thought about me? You knew that was a person that was annoying or maybe mean, or...
I wanted to get to know you. I didn't know what the feelings were at the time, but I thought you were cute right away. I thought you were special somehow. I just worried about you because you were sad. I didn't know what to make of you at first. I don't really remember anymore. His eyes widened dolefully, and he hung his head like a guilty puppy.
I'm sorry for upsetting you.
Cove's hand drifted to the scar on his arm, his fingers unconsciously gliding over the mark. It was much less noticeable than it had been when the neon pink cast had first came off, shrunken gradually over the years as his body healed, then dwarfed in comparison to his growing body. Still, his fingers came back to it without thinking. He gave a half smile, not meeting your eyes.
I feel bad now. The thoughts I had were, well, considering what you were thinking, I come across as a lot worse of a kid.
You didn't like me?
No. No, it definitely wasn't that.
Cove lifted his head up, finally committing to meet your eyes fully once more.
I remember you that day. I remember it really well. I don't think I'd ever be able to forget. I can picture the way you looked back then, when I first saw you standing right here. I still know the expression on your face when you chose to sit with me in the grass.
He chuckled self-derisively, interrupting his own monologue.
You scared me at first. I figured I'd be alone out there until I had to face my dad again. And then suddenly another kid appeared out of nowhere. It was startling, but I got over the fast. You were a strange person in a strange place, but in that moment, you were exactly what I needed. Somebody I could talk to freely about what was happening and how it made me feel. And you listened to me, you stayed with me. He sighed and then bit his lip as he gave a small smile. I was a little bit spoiled growing up.
You let him continue. He looked up again, seeking clarity for his thoughts in the expanse of the night sky.
What I'm trying to say is, when I was younger, I viewed myself basically as the center of the universe. I didn't even imagine it wasn't like that. Things didn't simply happen. That would be weird, according to my little kid brain. It made far more sense than everything in my life had a specific connection to me. Somehow, right?
Well, I mean, this game is kind of like that. He saw the formation in you, wavy brows raised as he tried to explain his childlike logic. So at the time, you felt almost unreal. Like you weren't just anyone, some other kid who happened to live in that neighborhood with your own whole life that wasn't connected to Cove Holden. No, to me, you were there so that you couldn't find me when I was lost. I kind of expected it all to vanish like a dream when that night was over. I would wake up and everything would be the same again. I'd be back in my bed at home, my real home with both my parents. The future was something I couldn't picture anymore. I didn't know what school would be like when I went back, or the table where I'd eat breakfast the next morning or anything. And if I couldn't imagine it, how could I think it was something actually happening? I couldn't grasp my new reality. It was too big for me to hold all at once. So I never thought I'd see you again. Then Cove beamed at you, his eyes shining bright. And I never ever would have been able to guess that 10 years later, when I was a grown-up, the two of us would still be together. I'm so glad I met you. It's hard to believe it's been so long. Gus, that makes me your dream come true. Mere words couldn't encompass. I feel the same about you. But the smile faded from his face as his eyebrows drew together. That was the worst day of my life at that time. The day my family broke apart. It was too heavy for me to even think about. I felt that way for I don't know how long. He held a hand over his heart, connecting with the pain he'd felt as a child, and looked at you earnestly. But that was never really true. Things have only gotten better with me and your dad and with the dad and mom. It was a change we all needed. His eyes were growing misty, so when I remember that time right now, it's not the point that my life was over. It was only the moment that I met that woman I was going to be with. When I was crying to a stranger over what I thought I'd lost, I didn't have any ideas that she would be the one thing in the world that I actually wouldn't be able to live without. I never want to lose you. You're so wonderful. Thank you for all of this. No, thank you. Then you hugged him. You gripped his shoulders. You kissed him. You teared up. His name. You leaned into the kiss, his lips soft against yours. Cove sighed contently. His voice as delicate as the petals on the poppies which crowned this hill. Hey, Bert. I'm so grateful you always took care of me. He didn't even know what to say back to that. His heartfelt appreciation left you speechless. He tilted his head up, thoughts lost in the sparse clouds above. I wonder how light it is. I guess it doesn't really matter. My dad is fine with me being out, whatever. You could just use your phone to check the time. You could still text your dad about what you're doing. You could still text your dad about what you're doing. I'm gonna get a message from my mom's. He might appreciate it. Probably. You were pleased to see Cove slip his phone out of the pocket and type away with it. Are you going to lay in the grass now? Wow, how do you know? I just thought you might want to. With a chuckle, Cove plopped down onto the ground and laid on his back, his usual way of spending time there. Oh my god! He lowered himself against Cove's side of the grass and wrapped an arm over his chest. Cove smiled at you and used his free hand to cradle your face. Both of you fell settled to relax on the hill. It felt like just the beginning of one of the nightly outings, but then you realized the sun was peeking out over the horizon. Oh my god! We stayed there for that long?! Cove spoke up in a disbelieving tone. It literally was late. Your neighbor wasn't a stranger to being awake at dawn. However, not like this. He was normally an early sleeper, early riser. This unexpected sunrise particularly awed him. The two of you watched on silently as the sun began to light the world. Cove then propped himself out on the backs of his arms and looked at you with a soft expression on his face. Then, do you want to go back home? I could carry you if you're too tired. You shook your head. You couldn't resist a yawn, but you were serious. It couldn't be time to go already. Cove chuckled affectionately and gripped you a little more. Okay, but it's been a long day. We've done a lot of things, like really a lot. It has to end sometime. Oh my god, why am I sad? Why is this making me sad? Does it really have to end? I know you're right. Since when were you okay with things ending? That made him laugh again. It was a fair question. They're like, the game's literally telling me like goodbye. Isn't there like an epilogue? Since you made me feel better about it. And we can still stay if you want to. Cove smiled brightly at you, as warm as the new rays of sun that were tickling your skin. In that moment, you couldn't have appreciated him being more. You leaned into Cove. You bent yourself against Cove for extra support. He tilted his head against yours. You're my favorite neighbor. Good night, Cove. Good night, Bird. The two of you remained together on the familiar Poppy Hill, where you first met until the world began to fade and blur. You were falling asleep. A few more gentle words drifted into your consciousness.
See you tomorrow.
Oh my god! Your eyelids dipped, but you felt good. You were safe and relaxed. Everything that had come before this had reassured you of that. You were confident that when you opened them again, things would be okay. Oh my god. You opened your eyes. Instead of the walls of your room, you were surrounded by open sky. It was not soft pillows and sheets underneath you, but the bed of the earth and grass that you'd taken last night. The day welcomed you with a shining sun, a refreshing breeze, and the chirping song of the birds. You cupped your face with your hands as you sat up, feeling the imprint of the blades of grass leaving lines into your cheeks. Bird. Hearing your name, you lowered your hands and looked around. There he was, your most influential neighbor, Cove Holden. What are you doing? He had made himself very comfortable, laying on his stomach with jewelry and shoes taken off and flower in his hand. Good morning. Morning. Cove laughed, tickled with the overall situation, simply being able to spend time like this. I told you I'd see you tomorrow. Why do you see? It looks like, dude. What is the word called? He looks mischievous. Alright, good for you. Your mild response did nothing to hamper Cove's beyond spirits. It is, isn't it? Cove turned his head up to the sky, his expression content. Looks like it's gonna be a nice day. We'll have to come up with something to do to make the most of it. He trailed off, blinking slowly in the sunlight. Someday, when we're even older than we are now, I wonder when we'll end up remembering this moment for. Bro, what if there's like a DLC where you grow up with like Cove, but it's like you guys are like old age, like you guys are like in your 80s or 90s. And it's like life with Cove in your 80s and 90s, like in the retirement center or something. Like, I feel like that would be really sad. Like bittersweet. Cove will we have when we look back at it? Will it be the same as what we're feeling right now?
It's nice.
I can't see what the future is gonna look like again, but I think that's alright. You're way too sentimental. Pretty sure I'm gonna have forgotten all about this. No, I'm really like forget all about this game. Oh god. I think it'll mark another new start for me. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Cove turned back to you, nodding in full agreement. He eyed the hill sprawling out before you, and down below, where the wild hill and nature gave way to civilization. Your home and Cove's lay down at the bottom, neatly filed among the other houses in the neighborhood. Hey Bird, I bet I can beat you in beating back to the road. You laughed, amused by the wager that reminded you of so many moments in your youth. As much as I like it here, it's okay if we leave now. We can always come back to see the poppies and the fireflies again, right? Cove met your eyes, waiting for what you were going to say in response. Right, I like that. It really is gonna be a nice day. You're amazing. Yeah, we better do that. You're not going out of it. We'll always be together in another way and one way or another. I might be able to manage that. Cove blinked. Slowly, his eyes still locked on you, but you didn't need to see his face to know that he adored you. If there had been any room for doubt, the tender way he spoke would have filled it up. You're really irreplaceable, huh? Bro, why where are your shoes? Cove beamed at you. His expression was so unlike that we'd run when you first found him here, swallowed in sadness and uncertainty. Yet you couldn't help but glimpse that boy once more underneath his bright expression and matured features. He offered you a hand. You accepted it, your palm fitting around his. Cove lifted himself up, pulling you along too. Our parents probably aren't gonna come running for us this time. We've got to make our own call. And I say that we can't hide away forever. Poppy Hill is just one part of things. There's more out there for us than this time, and this place alone. Let's enjoy it. You couldn't say whether you were the one that broke into Iran, if Cove had been the one to start it, or if your fate had simultaneously made the choice for you both. The end result was the same, with the two of you dashing down the hill like children, with the nostalgic revelry that could only come as an adult. As the wind whipped past you, you knew that family and friends were waiting at the end of your sprint. There were more memories to make after all. Life takes another step forward. Our life reached the end of the game. Oh my god! What? Oh my gosh. That was good. Like, I mean, there's an epilogue to this, right? There's an epilogue to this, right? I feel like I'm in denial, but I should be right about this. Oh, song. I felt sad about that ending. Damn. Oh my god. This game is probably the most, like... I feel like this is the most detailed, like, visual novel I've ever played. They give you a lot of choices of, like, the smallest things that I wouldn't really expect you. Like, but it's not like bad small things. Like, they gave you a lot of choices on how you do your makeup, your sexuality, like how you look and how you feel like you look. I've like some of those aspects I don't really see that like in like visual novel like dating sims, but this is the most detailed I've ever like seen for a visual novel. Damn, and that ending though, where they really said goodbye to you, like, man, they made you like it felt like they really cared about their characters they made, because they gave them like a specific like goodbye to you, to the player. Like, I feel like most of the characters had like a goodbye to you, and just like how you say goodbye to them. They gave you like choices on how you thought about them on the last time you see them, and it like the last choices you have with them felt like you could say like, oh, like say goodbye to them, or like, I'm glad you were my neighbor, I'm glad you were there for me. Like, damn. 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 Usually visual novels don't make me really sad when I end, like when I finish them, but this one really made me a little sad. Damn. That doesn't usually happen. Also, the song is not making, this is making me a little bit sadder too. The song is, oh my god, this was good. This was, I mean, I know there's an epilogue to this. This is the end. This is not the end. I'm not in denial. There is an epilogue to this, and I don't think it's the paid epilogue. I think there is an actual epilogue to this. I swear to God. Oh my god, this is a really good game though. Like, probably one of the best visual novels I've actually like played because of how detailed this is with the choices. Like, I think the closest to being detailed besides this game was probably what's it called? I can't remember. I can't remember the name right now, but there's only like, I think maybe because I also play like visual novels that are just like usually they're demos, but they're also because I usually play like yandere demo games. And they always are like really short. This one was probably like this because this one was really longer. I know this, like, the creators also have like really long games besides this. Thank you for playing. Oh, I know there's an epilogue. If there isn't, then I'm like, everything's a lie to me. I really did finish this game. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh! In between. Yeah, there is an epilogue! I knew it! Okay. Oh my gosh, I had Hatsune Miku pigtails. Okay, wait, I want to see, what should I give myself now? I want to still have long hair, though. Let's see. Ponytail? Ooh, we could do a ponytail. Nah, I want my hair to be loose. We did that last time. Or we could just do this. Let's just do... Did we do this last time? Oh, whatever. Let's just have it tied. I changed my mind. Okay. I'm still fine with this. Yeah. Nail color green. Yeah. Oh, we can have tattoos. Oh, nice. Oh well, that's fine. Love. Yes. Step 4. Let's go. Oh, what does he look like? Okay, dude. I never realized. Oh, frick. Let me go back. Go back. Go back. I didn't know there was a personality. For some reason, I didn't see this, so I never changed his personality. So I'm like, okay, he's always been like the same as usual, I guess. Oh my gosh. Yo, I kind of like his lookout. Oh my gosh, his hair. Ugh. Yeah, no, this is good. I like his hair tied. Okay. Glasses too. Oh my gosh. Do I want him to have glasses? Yeah, I think maybe, sure. This one. But this one. He looks so goofy with that. Earrings too. You know, he's known to like wear glasses, but I never gave him glasses. He needs glasses. Oh, sick! Wait, that one's cool. Oh, I don't really care. It's just whatever. Sure. So, maybe this one? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's give him a watch. Yeah, let's give him a watch. Sure. What necklace? Does he have this shark necklace? No, he doesn't. Change page. Oh, I don't like him with sunglasses. I don't like him with sunglasses. Okay, let's give him glasses this time, yeah. Which initiative level would you like to go for step 4, high initiative? And so your days growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Bird came to an end. In the years that passed since graduation, you couldn't move out of your childhood home and made your own way in the world. You lived alone. Live with Cole. He's fish and the pet you picked. Oh man. No, I like my fish. And you? Worked in a fine company, had a business of your own, co-owned a business with Cove, had multiple ways of earning income. We're still focused on pursuing education. Oh, I don't know. I guess let's be working. I don't want to work with Cove though. As where to get the fine company? In the. Oh my god. Oh, what do we want? I don't know. I don't know. Wait. Wait, I don't want to do sporting though. Let's just stay around here. Okay, it's either of these two. Writing industry or the fashion industry? Oh my god. Oh wait, no, I don't know. So, okay, wait, let's flip a coin. I'm gonna flip a coin. Fashion for... Let's see. I'm gonna flip a coin. Okay, heads for fashion, writing is tails. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I'm going with writing. I feel like that's more interesting. Your family members went through the same kinds of leaps into the independence. Liz and Lee both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. But your mom's and Cove's father still lived at the same street as they had for all those years before. It is comforting to see you, and there were some things that remained in the old neighborhood. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, your friends were still your friends. Though, of course, things weren't exactly the same for them either. Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man and switched to the spelling of his name to use a Y instead of an I. He also confessed to his love for Miranda. Oh, okay, for some reason I felt like there was gonna be like a romance between them, which he excitedly reciprocated. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bird. Derek was as busy as always, but doing well. He always made an effort to keep in touch, and you even saw each other in person occasionally. Bro, I wish we saw Derek more on step 3, though. I wish we saw him more. One person who did disappear into the shuffle of memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation in Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. It was a loss, he felt. He had become someone you'd consider a friend during those days. And then there's what became the sad little boy you grew up with, Clove Holden. Your deep affection for him was something that continued to last unabated over the years. But hopefully you would commit to each other even more than someday. You know what would be sad? If we could break up with him in the epilogue. That would be so sad. You didn't want your relationship to change from what that was. The two of you were engaged. He was your fiance! Nah. No, I want to earn this. I want to see this through the whole story. Not now. Hopefully you would commit to each other. Yeah. If we could actually date him, like, in between, like, the stories, like, I want to see if he proposes in between the stories, though. But you hope you would commit to each other even more someday. He truly thrived in his continued efforts of cultivating loving and supportive relationships with his family and friends. You couldn't say his personality had changed exactly. Instead, it became more refined. Ko was a warm, inviting, considerate man. He took the lessons he'd learned over the years to treat the people around him with patience and understanding. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, you could see where he was coming from based on his past interests. Cove decided against pursuing a degree and focused fully on building up a career. He got a small business of his own teaching surf lessons, and he still volunteered with Orca when his workload allowed it. As an adult, Cove also was able to recognize and have this diagnosis that he was on the autism spectrum. Oh. It was something that hadn't been noticed by his doctors as a child, but he was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. I thrilled you to see how happy and successful he'd grown up to be. On the whole, life continued its steady beat forward, and you all went with it down the path you chose. It was strange and wonderful. But no matter how old you got, how far you roamed, or how long you were away, the home you had in Sunset Bird still called you back eventually. The car rumbled back down the highway. You had started to zone out when the truck in the left lane loudly zoomed past. Your driver didn't remark on it. Just like anything else this trip, you went back to staring at the window, letting the scenery pass you by. You did appreciate the spacious backseat of your ride. You hadn't known exactly when you would be coming in, so you had decided to use a ride app rather than ask your mom to pick you up. Are we living in the same town or no? That's what I'm wondering. Wait, I'll mute myself. It had turned out to be a convenient choice. You looked forward to surprising your parents at the door. You smelled the thought of their faces lighting up. Oh, okay, so we're back. We're back in the same city. Luckily, this hadn't been that big of a trip for you. You lived close enough that the travel hadn't turned into a big production. However, that didn't make the occasion mundane. For once, your moms had not decided to have a modest celebration dinner for their anniversary. Unlike when you were growing up and they preferred not to make a big deal out of it, this year they were comfortable having a party. As time went on, they had found being the center of attention easier to handle. You were happy to see it. With this going on, there was no way that either you or Liz would miss your mom's anniversary. Both of you made plans to come back home for it. You didn't hear from Liz about your exact schedule, but you hadn't shared yours either. It reminded you of when you were kids and both know to show up for dinner, but didn't keep each other in the loop for each other's pre-dinner plans. This was the same concept after all. Some things stayed the same, and yet it was definitely different from when you would see your sister every day, and it was sort of what she was doing anyways for us from osmosis. Today, you had no idea. Things were always changing. You mused on how at times it was hard to believe you didn't live with your parents anymore, and yet you also couldn't imagine going back and living as a kid under the rules. The rest of the drive flew by. Your silent driver provided a smooth ride. No sharp turns or hard stops jostled you out of your own head. Your thoughts turned from introspective to observant. The landscape passing by became more and more familiar. You frequently recognized the landmarks and dotted the area. A grin came to your face as you passed past, the now entering sign for Sunset Bird. Excitement built within you. You were really here. You were doing this. Your driver turned off on the street, and you realized that their map program was taking you to the way home that Mom preferred. You usually would have used the other side street to pass by the beach. In no time at all, the car had gone through the whole town and pulled in front of your mom's condo. The car slowed to a stop and parked. With the buzz of a highway gone, you realized that you could hear the familiar sound of waves. The air smelled like salt, and a rush of childhood memories flooded back. You started to gather your things and humming to yourself once more about how happy your moms would be to see you. After that, you notify everyone else that you'd made the trip safely. You pulled over your suitcase over for the other seat and yanked at your bag from down near your feet. Tap tap. You startled at the sudden sound of the tapping on glass. It caused you to pause. Did you really hear what you thought you did? You weren't entirely sure because you soon heard something else, the window on the opposite side of the car rolling down. It confused you until you put it together. Despite the driver's silence, you weren't actually alone in this car. The driver must have pressed the button. Someone had to be there. You turn your head to face the now open window. Cove! Oh my god! There he was, leaning his arms across the window, your beloved Cove, Holden. He beamed at you with one of his precious open smiles. Hey, Bert. What a surprise this is. I didn't expect to see you in the neighborhood. He was joking, of course, seeing your expression. He decided to push it further. How come we didn't go together? We lived together in the same apartment. How come we were in different cars? Also, how come we didn't know he was coming? It's not like I've been waiting for you out here all morning or anything. I've been the one waiting to see you. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Five. You stared at him, stunned. Cove chuckled at your reaction and met your eyes with a gentle expression. He then gripped the top of the car door and pushed half of his torso through the opening. That was enough to make the driver break their silence with a sharp "Hey!" Cove did not seem to notice and continued climbing in through the window. Dude! No, don't do that! He pushed one hand down the middle seat to prop his dangling body up. The driver is not getting paid enough for this shit. He used his other hand to caress your cheek as he leaned in as close as he could. I missed you. Bro, don't we live in the same apartment with our pet fish? You scooched across the seats and kissed him on the lips. You leaned over his hands with yours. He flicked his nose. You stretched your hand out and gave him a solid, friendly flick to the bridge of his nose. He gasped indignantly, but even then he couldn't cover his smile with his faked affront. I missed you too. I missed you even more than you missed me. Okay, now get out of the window, you crazy person. But it's so comfortable. His body was shaking from the effort it took to maintain his precarious position. He's like changed a lot. His personality has changed a lot when he was like a kid too, because his kid stuff was so quiet and mean, and then it's so different now. He's so friendly now. Cove's smile turned awkward as his arms started to bend lower, causing his body to slide downwards with it. He turned his head to the driver. I'm always causing trouble in this neighborhood. Cove shifted around some more and squirmed back the way he came. After he had successfully pushed off the window and landed on the pavement with a thump, you opened your car door. You threaded your arms through the various straps of your bags and climbed out. Cove took a few long strides around the back of the car and quickly met you on your side. Cove stood in the front of you, and it struck you that the two of you were back in Sunset Bird, reunited once again on the streets. You jumped into his arms. You gave him a friendly punch. You gently knocked him on the shoulder. It was a little difficult with your arms full of luggage, but you managed. In return, you got a signature Cove goofy grin. He returned the gesture with a prolonged poke to your collarbone area, not hard enough to unbalance you even with all your bags. You really were ecstatic to be around him again, and absolutely thrilled that it was here in this town where you were together. Even if it had only been a short time since you had seen him off, you had still missed Cove greatly. It somehow felt a little longer. Given your different schedules and travel availabilities, it had worked out better for Cove to head out to Sunset Bird first. Oh, okay. He only arrived that evening before, however, and secured the hotel room. Until now, you'd never had to deal with that inconvenience of being in a tourist-heavy area. It was a fight to get a place to stay close by during the heat of the summer vacation season. Living without him at your place was strange. Cove was basically a part of you at this point. You're glad to feel whole again. Oh. You idly shifted your luggage, and it struck you that you were short one. You got out in such a hurry, it was left behind. You reached back into the car to pull it out. Cove stood aside as you made a dash for the door. You shouldered the small bag and felt relief that you would be able to brush your teeth tonight.
Got everything this time?
You stood up straight, everything truly gathered up and out of the car. You gave the backseat one last glance and then nodded. Cove shut the car door after you had moved out of the way. The two of you stepped off the street to give the driver some room. Cove waved. Sorry again. The driver said nothing and drove off. With the road clear, you let your gaze drift across the neighborhood that you had known forever. It was such a small place to spend so many days. You were flooded with memories of going up and down the street during every stage of your life. Being a little kid, following your big sister to the playground, becoming a teen and staying out late, and growing into an adult who left their parents' house because to be independent. You could feel the summer sun on your skin from all the times you headed out to the beach. You saw the same surroundings that you as a young adult did when leaving home. It was hard to quantify the amount of history you had here. And now you were back. Despite taking in the neighborhood again, you never lost awareness of Cove's presence. From the corner of your eye, seeing him, there was a familiar sight as well. So many of your memories included him. Your mind drifted from the neighborhood itself to the person who used to be lived there. You couldn't help the feeling of nostalgia. You still remembered his face, his voice, the scar of his arm from days long gone. He had changed so much since you had first met him, yet even with those changes, he was still always recognizable. He was familiar, like the sky was in the way you knew the sea. Every day they may appear different, but they're still an inextricable part of life. It was the world with help. It was the world with help from Mr. Holden and his ill-thought $20 bill. I brought you together to begin with, but the two of you had chosen each other. It had never let your interactions fade. You had decided to nurture your relationship into that what it was. And you would continue to keep Cove close in all the rest of your adult years. Cove was the partner you wanted for life, and you couldn't be more grateful to call him your boyfriend. It would be impossible to imagine life without him. Cove noticed you staring at him after a while and smiled with his eyebrows rising in curiosity. He was very transparent in his question if there was something you wanted to say. You shook your head and returned him to his soft expression. You let yourself get carried away in the tide of memories, but now was the time to focus on the present. You gestured to your house. Your moms were waiting for your arrival still. Cove nodded and then pointed at all the luggage around your legs.
Can I help you with any of that?
Yeah, thank you. You can help with all of it. No, it's like carrying all in groceries in one go. Now the house is literally right there. No, you dropped them. There, thank you. You gratefully passed him a bag. It was a lot easier to balance everything with that out of the way. You used both hands to make a hold of the one piece of luggage and stood all pleased to be able to provide assistance. The bag situation resolved, the two of you strolled over to the Ernie residence's door. You started to pat your pockets instinctively, only to realize that you no longer carried a key to the house. Your eyes scanned the entryway, a little lost, only to spy the doorbell. The thought of having to ring it felt super weird. As you pressed the inconveniently placed button on the sideway, you remembered that no matter how much this place would always be a home to you, it wasn't where you lived. Being back here was like putting in a uniform after you quit the store where it came from. It had remained the same, but your circumstance had changed. Cove shifted on his feet and awkwardly, obviously also thrown about you being stuck out here keyless. You heard muffled voices and shuffling around from inside. Your heartbeat sped up in anticipation. The door swung open, and there was your mom's smiling face. She immediately brightened at seeing you standing there. Oh my gosh! Well. Mom twisted her head back and gave a shout down the hall. Lanny, guess who's here? There were more distant noises, no doubt. Ma, getting up from wherever she was to come see, her high-spirited words rang out clearly.
I hope it's one of my children.
Mom snickered, still holding the door only half open to hide you for a little longer. Cove flushed as it suddenly realizing that he was going to be present for your mom's enthusiastic welcoming. Hi, Spectre. Oh, hello. Oh my gosh. Oh god. Hi, guys. You're just in time for me to start a new arc for this game. Hello. Your mom's enthusiastic welcoming of you. You smiled to reassure him that he was intruding. Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to stream. Oh. Hold on. Asmodeus Amane, thank you for following. Okay. Sorry, also, like, I know there's like a bot comment on the stream. Sorry, I can't for some reason cannot get rid of it. I'm sorry for that. Oh, dude, I like those gifs. He smiled to reassure him that he was intruding. Mom finally reached the door and peered over Mom's shoulder. Oh my god! I love her all the... Oh my gosh.
It is. Hello, Bert.
She gave you a once-over, patting the tops of your shoulders and moving down the sides of your arms before she nodded in satisfaction that you were in one piece.
How sweet.
This is a wonderful surprise.
Mom inclined her head to Cove next, not leaving him out either.
Hello, sweetie. You count as one of my kids at this point anyways. I have double the surprise today.
Oh, yeah. He grinned quietly. Cove bashfully waved at them. He hadn't relaxed fully, but he had settled down at their welcome. Well, don't just stand out there. Come on in. Your mom moved aside and held the door open for you, gesturing for you to enter. Oh, also, like, I guess for some context, for those of you guys arrived, we're coming back into our parents' house. Since we moved out a long time ago, and so we're visiting them. I think for the summer. This game always takes place during the summer. Oh, there's food on there now, on the counter. You stepped into the living room. It was comfortable and cool. Cove was a half step behind you, his eyes on the new painting, and your mom's must have added since the last time you were here. Things were mostly the same, but there were more decorations since you had seen the house last. Mom may have gotten the urge for some interior designing again. It struck you how... Oh my gosh. Flop... I hope I pronounce this right. Flopancho VT, thank you for following. Also, welcome to stream. It struck you how odd it was to be the guests, only observing their choices for the living space rather than the full-time occupants. Ma came up in front of you, excitement in her eyes.
I'm so glad you're here. You know your mom and I would have been happy to pick you up, but you're self-sufficient and responsible, that's okay. What matters is that you arrived safely.
We can drive, though. We can drive to the place, right? Like, I'm wondering why we didn't come with Cove to the house. Why did he have to go first again? They'll probably explain it. Mom appeared at her side with a nod. Welcome back, kiddos. You appreciated that your parents respected you as an adult, even if Mom still called you kiddo. You figured long ago that you'd always be your kiddo, no matter how grown you became. It was part of the whole parent-child deal with her. You hugged your moms. Yay, let's hug them. We haven't seen them in years! You took another step forward and pulled Mom and Ma into a great big hug, squeezing them tight. Their arms wrapped around you in return, and you could feel their love for you in their embrace. I'm happy to hear you. I missed you both. I'm so glad to see you. I thought you deserved a little breakout. I'm happy to be here.
Good, that's all I want to hear.
It's always nice when I'm able to come by. How's the stream going? Oh man. It's been good. I technically finished the game. I technically finished this game. But I'm playing the epilogue right now. The epilogue apparently I think is longer compared to the other parts of like arcs of the game. So like in this epilogue, I believe we're like a fully grown adult visiting like our parents for like the summer. So yeah. By the way, how was your stream, by the way? I'm sorry I didn't get to see it, because I was also streaming this too. It's always nice when I'm able to come by. Your mom's giggled, please. I hope things are going well for both of you. You inspected the beaming faces of your parents. They both appeared to be doing fine. Are things sorted out for your anniversary yet?
We're happy to help if there's something we can do. We've been plenty fine. It's been a little quiet, but that's not a bad thing. Mom placed her arm around Ma's shoulder and gave her a side hug. Don't worry about the party. We're just planning to eat at the Cypress. Nothing fancy. This is kind of funny thing to say about the pretty fancy country club. The biggest issue has just been making sure everyone could make it for the day. Oh, we're probably gonna see our sister too, right?
Speaking of which, Liz will be arriving tonight. We're planning on picking her up later.
Yo!
I guess Liz isn't as grown up as Bert.
Mom snickered at her own joke, and Ma lightly elbowed her with a barely hidden grin.
Shush. As I was saying, we could drop you off wherever you're staying, if you don't mind waiting for that.
I'm sorry there's no space for you in the house. It's gotten crowded in those old rooms since you and Liz moved out. I don't know where all this stuff keeps coming from. Oh, so are we gonna live in our own hotel room?
Sure you don't, Camilla.
It's okay. Cove already has a hotel room. I'm gonna be staying in anyway.
Yeah! Cove sent you some pictures of the place where he arrived. Stylish and roomy. It seemed very nice. It was a double room. I don't really care. Sure. I'm gonna flip. I want to flip a coin for this, but it's like, let's close it. Okay, never mind. He claimed that the bed was comfortable, so you had high hopes about that. Though mostly you were looking forward to having him next to you as you slept once again. Her mom smiled, relieved.
Kyra's already here, isn't she?
She directed her question to Cove. He bobbed his head a bit to go along with his reply.
Yeah, I heard her. She made it. She's gonna be staying with Dad while she's in town.
Have you gone over and said hello yet?
Cove chuckled self-consciously, and this time he shook his head. He raised an eyebrow, since you had figured he would have taken the chance while he was waiting for you. Not yet. I should go do that now. I just wanted Bert to be there, too. He caught your eyes with an adoring smile. Mom laughed at that, no doubt thinking that Cove was sweet but ridiculous.
It's nice to know your priorities.
Yeah. Cove awkwardly rubbed his arm and shifted on his feet, looking all too much all he did as a kid. Bert, do you want to go over to my house now? I'm assuming, wait, this is the same voice actor for Cove. He sounds more like, I don't know, he's defiant? He sounds more like, I guess more confident.
That's a good idea. We won't be leaving until late evening.
Okay. Cove perked back up, excited once more. I'll keep an eye on her things while you're out. There's no reason to be carrying all that around. You set down your bags in the living room, tucked in the corner where they wouldn't be in the way. Cove helped. I hope we see Derek too. I'm really hoping we see Derek. Your mom's waved the two of you off as you walked back to the entranceway. Maybe like in town or something. Thanks, see you soon. You waved back and opened the front door for Cove. With that, you were on your way to see Cove's family next. This trip, but a special little pep in Cove's steps as he crossed the street to his dad's house again. Your spirits were equally high doing this. You felt like a teen again. By the way, some context. Cove was our neighbor since our childhood. So literally our houses are next together. He had known Cove's parents for a long time now, when it came to what you called his dad. You still stuck with the familiar classic Mr. Holden. You switched back to saying Cove's dad. You're on the first clip. Yeah, clip, let's go! Although it was awkward on your tongue at first, it rolled off comfortably now. You appreciated how much he saw you as an adult and friend, and not just a kid from across the street. For his mom, Kyra, she always preferred that even when you were still just a kid. Honestly, you couldn't imagine calling her anything else. Cove hopped up to the front door and didn't bother knocking. He twisted the knob and swung it open. With a grin, Cove gave you a gratified thumbs up. You shook your head in disapproval, but you both knew that you hypocritically supported his behavior. Cove went right into his old home. Cliff was there, standing in his kitchen and babysitting a pan on the stove. Oh, bro, why does the dad never look old? He looks so young for every single arc.
He does not look like he's grown at all, like with old age. But for some reason, our moms have, which is weird. His mom, I feel like because they're like around the same age too, but somehow he looks so much younger. His head turned at the sound of the footsteps, and he's brightened instantly at the sight of you both. Cove matched his enthusiasm instantly. If it was anyone else, you would have thought he was lighting up with a childlike joy over seeing his dad again. But since you knew what Cove was actually like as a kid, you're aware this level of happiness with Cliff was definitely not equivalent to any childhood feelings of his. Dad.
Cove!
Cliff graciously pushed what he was cooking to a different burner and flipped off the heat. He rushed over to you both. Cove flew forward and met him halfway in a hug. Cove squished his eyes shut and held his dad in a tight hug. Cliff soothingly rubbed his son's back. The more of an adult Cove became, the more he turned into big dad. Yeah, sure.
I missed you!
I missed you too. It was sweet, and teasing aside, it was wonderful to see them at his place in their relationship after years of struggling to connect. When the hug broke, Cliff hooked an arm around his son's neck. He let out a deep laugh.
I still can't believe you outgrew me! I really thought I had that on him after he graduated from high school, but then he had to keep going.
Chuckling, he shook his fist in a mock anger. Cove ducked his head and laughed in kind. Sorry, Dad. Cove's cheeks turned pink and he averted his eyes. He was becoming bashful, so you knew he had more he wanted to say. Cove softly added, "But I was raised very, really well." His dad's expression instantly crumbled with emotion. He sniffled. Cove put an arm around him and hugged him in a side hug. He observed their little reunion fondly, happy to let them enjoy their moments. They were a perfect pair of sentimentality. Cliff eventually turned his attention to you.
Hi, Bert. So great to see you.
He pulled away from Cove and approached you with a little wave. He was back to his cheery self. Hi, Cliff. Missed you, Cliff. Cliff, it's nice to see you. Hi, Cliff. High five. No, wait. Hug. He's so strange, but I really like his character. Propelling yourself forward, Cliff held a huff as you knocked the air from his lungs. You wrapped him in a tight hug. Sighing, you felt him slowly relax and hug you back. For a second, you could have sworn that you heard a quiet sniffle above you.
I missed having you around.
Nodding, you could feel his warm blush rising in your face. It felt good being back home. Cliff cleared his throat, pulling attention to himself. He's crossed his arms.
But before we get too carried away, it's not a real reunion yet. Kara's still in the guest suit. Sweet, I'll go get her.
He eagerly bolted down the hall, and you could hear every step he took. It ended with a distinct knock.
Kara, they're here!
It was only seconds before there was the sound of a door being yanked open. The pounding of feet hitting the wood floor grew even louder this time. Bro, she also looks really young for her age. Like, dude, what is their skincare routine? They look so young compared to my mom's. Next to you, Cove let out a nervous laugh. His parents entered the living room, and Kyra stretched her arms out wide when she spotted you both. Cove went to her easily. You went in for the hug too. You opened your own arms up for a big hug. You raised your arms up to pass. She pulled you tightly into her arms with Cove. You were squished but felt every bit of love Kyra felt in her heart with you both. Cove wrapped his free arm around her too. He rested his head on top of hers and let out a happy sigh. After a moment, Kyra let go and pulled back to get a better look at your faces. She surveyed every inch of them and appeared satisfied. You're both looking well. That's wonderful, and just what I like to see.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, and hi, Mom.
Thanks, Kyra. Her smile widened, and then she turned to Cove one more time. She brushed a few stray strands of his hair back into place. Now you look just as sweet as birds. So, how have you been doing? Kyra gave a nod to Cliff to go first. Cheerfully, he waved his hand.
Oh, same old, same old. Still go to the shop, still got my friends and family, of course, and still the most exciting thing around here is seeing who'll rent the one free condo.
Incredible, I always knew you were such a snore. They snickered, and you couldn't help but peek at Cove. He rolled his eyes dramatically, drawing out a few giggles from you, but the whole time there was still a happy smile fixed on his face. For me, things have been good. I've gotten a lot of interesting assignments lately. Oh, I recently went to Seattle, and Kyra twirled the strand of her hair shyly, and her mouth curved into a grin. Whatever she was thinking about and made her happy. Things have still been going well with that guy from work, but it's a little early to bring him all the way out to California to meet the family. Cove crossed his arms. He and his dad nodded. It was clear she appreciated acceptance from her two boys. That's great. I'm really happy for you. I hope he gets the seal of approval when he does come around. He said I'm really happy for you. Thank you. You were honestly glad that things were going well for her. She was clearly grateful for your approval as well.
So that's us. Do you two have plans for your first day back?
The only thing I have to do is pick up letters for later tonight before we head back to our hotel room.
Great.
He suddenly looked over his shoulder, his eyebrows pushed together.
Oh, I'm glad you're here, but I just remembered that I was in the middle of cooking something.
Oh, yo, lunch. Only a small cackle escaped you while you fought off the giant grin taking over your face. Meanwhile, Cove erupted into laughter that had his dad shaking his head.
That's fine, Dad. Go salvage what you can. I think it'd be nice to explore the old neighborhood for a while anyway, since we've got the time.
Cove directed the last part to you as he spoke, hoping that you'd want to go with him. You nodded automatically. You were already looking forward to it.
That's a perfect idea.
I think so too. You should go enjoy the day. I'll hang back here so I won't be a third wheel, and someone's gotta keep an eye on Cliff before he catches the whole kitchen on fire. Mom, you're not a third wheel.
Cove stiffly stuck his arms against his side like a little child, a small smirk tugged at Kyra's mouth. She winked.
You know what I mean. Have a good walk.
I'll see you both later.
Cheerily, Cliff waved before going back to cooking. Cove smiled warmly.
Bye.
Yo, time to walk around. Cove trailed behind you as he walked into the welcoming summer sun. He stopped, closing his eyes to stretch his arms in a warm embrace. Satisfied, Cove gave you a bent smile and dropped down low to the ground. You knew that this time it was your chance to get a piggyback ride. Let's go! Oh, yo, he remembered. Cove silently waited for your answer. He laid a hand gently on his shoulder and his expression softened.
I like the way you think.
Cove hummed in agreement while you climbed onto his back. When you both had a secure grip, you stood up. The movement bounced you more than usual. Chuckling into Cove's hair, you were pleased to enjoy another afternoon of your favorite mode of transportation. Under your hand, you could feel the vibrations of laughter in Cove's chest.
Let's go.
Naturally, you found yourself heading down the road towards the beach. Your spirits rose even higher as you strolled across the sand, heading for the shopping district. Arriving, you wove past tourists you were taking in the sights for the very first time. Being a local was a badge of honor you were proud of. You casually walked past the shops. Over the years, some had closed down, but many of the stalls were still exactly the same as they were when you were little. Okay. Cove stamped his head as far as it could go to one side, so dramatically you could have missed it. Something clearly caught his eye, but you couldn't see it.
There's a pretzel stand over there. Can we get on?
When his gaze found you again, he wore the biggest smile. You chuckled. Yeah, we can. You don't need to get my permission. As for me,
You can do what you want to do. I don't want to do what you want to do though. Aw.
Okay, we can go.
You're gonna get the one that comes with a little frosting cup, aren't you? That's right.
After that, you both happily made your way over, being pulled in faster by the delicious aroma of the stall. With that, you changed course to the pretzel stand for a snack break. Cove was very pleased by the morsel he picked up, and that was good to see. The sun arched across the sky as you went up and down the road as a pair. By the time you returned to the beach, day was beginning to fade into the night. Cove kicked his shoes off, tossing them into the sand. He wanted to get his feet wet in the waves as fast as possible. You joined him. Yeah, let's go into the water! In seconds, you had your feet free, and your shoes abandoned in the sand, and you kept going until you were ankle deep in the water. Cove sighed contentedly. You followed his line of sight to the setting sun, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink.
It really feels like summer now.
He wore a bed smile. When he turned to you, the light illuminated like a halo behind him. The sight took your breath away.
In fact, it's hard to think of anything that feels more perfectly summer than moments exactly like this. Being here at Sunset and Sunset Bird with you. I'm so glad we were able to come visit. I do like our living situation now over just being neighbors, but still.
Bashfully, your gaze fell down to the ground. You drew squiggles into the sand with your foot while your heart fluttered, thinking about what Cove said. Happy too. Of course we would have ended up like this again sooner or later. I guess it's not so bad about an old neighborhood. This is a wonderful day. You felt elated. You couldn't wait to pick up Liz and be surrounded by your family again. Cove murmured quietly, losing himself in his thoughts again. Shortly after, you saw his hand shoot down into the sand. He stood straight back up with a lopsided smile and got to the work brushing the sand off his prize. You knew without a single word, Cove found a new shell for your collection. As you wandered down the beach, Cove followed at your side in comfortable silence. Your shadows stretched across the sand like they were leading the way. The only noise you could hear were the soft footfalls of your feet and the waves gently rocking into the shore. For a moment in time, it felt like there were only the two of you in your own little world. Eventually, the bubble popped when you realized that your phone was going off. It was Ma, hoping that you were going to be back soon. Curious, Cove's eyes slid down to your phone. You let your hand fall back down to your side. You held the phone pressed against the palm of your hand. It's Ma. She wants to know when you will be there. Cove scratched the back of his neck and shook his head. His mouth twitched like he just had a funny thought.
Dang, parents always trying to make us come home before it gets too dark.
You laughed. There's no escape from the rescue. Yeah. Even if you're like in your like late 20s, that's or like early 30s, that's still going to be a thing with like parents and all. Like you're still like under their curfew if you're visiting them.
It's like we warp back into being little kids at the moment we set for that entrance sign.
Cove's nose crinkled in fake disgust, and you both burst into a fit of giggles. It'd be nice not to have to worry about bells again.
Sometimes.
After one last glance, you put your phone away again. Cove gave a small shrug.
Ready?
Yep.
Well, let's go.
Together you left the beach, feeling the call of home pulling you forward. The both of you ran off towards your mom's house, leaving the waves behind you, welcoming the beginning of summer. Cove and you ran up from the beach. Sand flying from your steps, Cove made it to the front of the road first, but he managed to catch up to him by the time you reached the house. I wonder how old we are now. I'm assuming we're like in our early 20s or late 20s. It wasn't exactly a race, and yet it also wasn't not a competition. Both of you were laughing by the time you bumbled through your old front door together. Your moms were seated in the living room. Their eyes sparkled as they locked on you and your light dusting off sand. Welcome home. Mom leaned forward, eyebrows raised at their jubilant entrance. Ma sighed wistfully.
Aww. That brings back memories.
Cove chuckled shyly as he scratched at the back of his head.
I hope we're not too late.
Nope, you're just in time, but you better start packing it up. Liz will be waiting. Ma nodded as she stood up from your seat. She lightly ran her fingers over her clothes to smooth out the wrinkles. It took you a second to remember where you had put your stuff, your needs to get it all in the car so you could get everything back to your hotel.
Can I help?
You shrugged and directed him to your bags. With Cove at your mom's and yourself on the job, it only took one trip to the car to get everything. Cove firmly closed the trunk and you thanked everyone for the assistance. Of course, kiddo. Cove.
Come along, Gertie. Family, let's get in the car.
You saw Cove hesitate for a second. You couldn't have that. You got his attention and spoke quietly but deliberately.
You too, Cove. You count.
Thanks. Exactly, well said, Bert. He doesn't feel like he's part of the family yet. Cove climbed into the backseat with a decidedly touched expression on his face. He got in on the other side. When everyone was situated and buckled, the engine was started, and Ma pulled out onto the street. You couldn't help but feel amused to be stuck in the backseat with Cove. Your mom's driving you around. It felt like you were little kids again. Cove caught you staring at him and gave you a spent smile. He was probably on the same wavelength as you from the sheer mischief in it. There was some light chatting on the drive, but no one was brought up anything too deep, and it mostly became swapping jokey stories. The entire trip was marked by a heavy sense of anticipation. Everyone was ecstatic to see Liz and hear what she had been up to. When you neared the airport, Mom pulled out her phone to call Liz. Ma followed the signs to the correct pickup area and asked for you to shout if you saw your sister. Yeah, Liz, Red Wing B. There's a blue sign that says North America.
Tell her that we're right in front of the building with blue windows.
She says she's outside, right by the yellow truck.
I see at least 3 yellow trucks.
I think they're doing work at the airports. The back and the forth continued, with Ma driving around the wide circular airport road while Mom attempted coordination between her and Liz's location.
Aha!
You leaned forward, peering out of the front of the car. A tall, poised silhouette pulled a pale purple roll-along suitcase behind her. It was definitely Liz. She waved to the car. Ma parked along the sidewalk next to her, and Mom put her phone away with a cheer. Mission accomplished, team. Ma excitedly reached over to grasp Mom's raised hand, thrilled that both of her kids were back.
That's right.
Liz came closer and yanked open the back door beside her. She popped her head into the car, a smile ornery despite how tired she appeared. It must have been a long trip for her, yet her expression was the same familiar smirk that you had grown up with. Oh.
Hello, children. I'm back.
Oh, I miss her hat. Rude. Liz shrugged, unaffected by her joking accusation.
You'll survive.
Smiled at her. You poked her cheek. Her eyes, she looks terrified, she's like horrified. Her eyes watched her finger with confusion until you poked her jaw. Her jaw dropped at the sheer audacity. Liz leaned back out of her reach and booped your nose before you regained your balance and pulled back. Well, hi to you too, kiddo.
Hello, sweetie. It's so nice that you're here.
Hi, Elizabeth. He jokingly huffed at her. We're not children.
Whatever you say.
She turned her gaze back to Mom and Ma.
You really know how to make someone feel appreciated.
Her spirits very high. You could tell she was just as happy to be here as everyone was to see her. She left the door open, but ducked out to walk around the back of the car. She opened the trunk and lifted her luggage in.
I'm gonna move your junk, Bert. I'll keep it in front of my bag so you can get it later. Ma's dropping you off first, right?
Yes, but that's not junk. It's important. Liz slammed the trunk, closed, but without responding. Liz swung around the open door. You noticed that her hair had a few flyaways, no doubt from a long day of traveling. She leaned against the frame of the car, giving you and Cove a significant look.
I'm not sitting in the middle. I already have 5 hours of the nightmare of the flights. There's no way I'm getting in between the two of you. I mean, really, who would ever want to be the person pulling Cove, Holden, and Bert Ernie apart?
Cove puffed up indignantly. Yet again, at her classic tease of your relationship, Liz continued along like she didn't notice.
I don't care how you decide who's scooting. I figure you can fight it out somehow.
Oh. Cove glanced over at you and shrugged. He unbuckled his seatbelt and moved to the middle. Thanks, Cove. I guess I'll always have to boss his sister. I'm sorry you're always in the middle, Cove. Some people just It's okay. Growing up, it was normally me and Lizzie putting you in the middle of things.
True. Oh, memories.
With the window seat open, Liz squished herself in the car and shut the door. When everyone was settled, Ma began to pull out. Oh, we're off! Liz crossed her legs, compacting herself slightly. She braced most of her weights on the door. Behind her, instead of sitting up straight, it gave her a little more room.
Hopefully we finish the journey. This car is almost as old as we are. And it's still just as good as you are.
Well, the complaining definitely means Liz is back. We're equivalent to the junker. Yeah, I love this old car. We're equivalent to the junker. You put as much fake hurt into your tone as you can manage. Neither of your moms took you up on your teasing.
I feel insulted being compared to this rust bucket. This doesn't even have enough cup holders, Ma.
Mom turned up to the radio as Mom emerged onto the highway. The station was familiar, the normal soundtrack for when she had driven you and Liz around town. Liz bounced in her seat, enjoying the classic tune. The song would be old enough to vote at this point if it was a person. That was hard to believe. With Liz, the conversation livened up despite it's getting later and later in the night. She told you all about her week and all the travel preparations she made by the time she'd made it to the actual tale of travel itself. Liz started chuckling. On the plane, Liz had sat next to the couple of girls who had talked a lot about how well they could read people. Liz recounted their conversation with her in hilarious detail as they had apparently tried to guess her occupation after only shaking her head. Neither of the girls could agree with one another and Liz had refused to just tell them. However, the drive to your hotel only so long. Eventually, your group arrived. He yawned and got out of the car when it stopped. Wait, what is her profession though? Cove clambered out after you. Liz gave a loud sigh of relief at the extra space she found herself with. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved off your family after you said hi or goodbyes. After they left, you and Cove went to go find your room. You scanned the key card to unlock your hotel room. It sounded out a soft beep and you turned the handle of the door. The door creaked open. Then you craned your head in to take a look. The first thing you noticed was a large king-size bed in the middle of the room. It was a prim, modern-looking space. It seemed clean and smelled faintly like a floral air freshener. A smile played on Ko's face as he watched you take in the space. The bed's nice, huh? Which one of us is gonna use it? I am. I stared at him blankly. Here we go again. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. I want to share, really. Good. Cope let out a breath in relief that he'd been holding on to. I got a good hotel, didn't I? Yeah, you picked one on a nice one. It's passable. I guess I'll manage. Thanks for handling it. I'd say it's nice. It's the same hotel I would have picked on my own. It makes sense we'd go for this one. Looks like your room at Kyra's place. He sighed in a long, suffering way. He was going to put up with so much during this trip. You and Cove continued to chat as you settled in. You unpacked some of your stuff and checked out all the room's amenities. Cove pointed out the mini fridge and started puzzling over what food could be ordered onto the room. However, the fact was you both were exhausted. It didn't take too many yawns before you both changed into your pajamas and called it a day. You had to hunt along the wall to locate the light switch. When you finally found it, you flicked it off with a sense of triumph. You turned your head over to Cove. He stood behind you in his pajamas. He was cozy and comfortable, but the pieces didn't match. He never minded that. I wonder why they never gave us like an option to do like to change like customize these pajamas and other stuff like they did in step 3. Ready for bed? Cove smiled, a soft expression that was adorable. Okay, let's go to sleep. Bye-bye. Good night. Despite saying that it was bedtime, Cove took a step forward towards you. He wrapped his arms around your back and he leaned into his embrace. Then he lifted you off your feet. Oh! What? Still not putting you down, Cove promptly dropped himself backwards. The both of you crashed into the tight tucked sheets of the hotel bed. He laughed the entire time. Cove bounced on the landing and absorbed most of the impact. You laid on his chest, feeling a little jostled. I wonder, like, this is another thing I wonder, like, I wonder if we could have broken up with him in between step 3 and step 4, and then we could have also got back together with him in step 4, which I would not like, but I'm just wondering if that would have been an option. Because in the last parts of step 3, it was hinted that you could have, like, strained your relationship with him. Could have warned me. That was scary. That was scary. The following part was alarming to say the least. You did not want to repeat. Sorry, I won't do that again. You appreciated his sincerity and breathed a sigh of relief that you would not have to worry about the future sneak attacks. Apology accepted. His face relaxed. Wait, actually go back. Wait, actually I do want those. What if the like in the like stop something in the past? Okay, I can't go back. Wait, I can! Yeah! You swatted his shoulder. The light spun on his shoulder. Cove quieted down his laughter after seeing the disapproval on your face. Oh, never mind. You're an absolute madman. You shook your head jokingly. His laughter turned into a snort. He smiled up at the ceiling, a thought clearly crystallizing. My dad used to do that kind of thing to me when I was little, sort of. Oh, nostalgia was clear in his voice. It was a fond memory, and you felt something warm in your chest. You made a small noise of understanding that turned into a yawn. When Cove yawned in return, you pulled at the sheets until you were actually under the blankets. Good night, Cove. Don't let the bed bugs bite. He neither. Pinchy's cheek. He was so cute that you had to. He shook his head fondly, making the pinch even bigger. Cove wrapped his arms around you and snuggled next to you. He let out a contented breath. You reached out to hold Cove under one arm and then used your other hand to comb through his hair. The two of you relaxed into one another, and you knew neither of you would want to be anywhere else. I can't believe we're really here. You and Liz and everyone else are gonna be here in the Sunset Bird again. I was staring at all the scenery going by while we were driving here, and it honestly felt like we never left. He ran a hand down his face. I mean, in some ways, it feels like it's been ages since everything's different. Some of that is definitely because I'm staying at the hotel instead of being in my room at Dad's, but yeah. It's so weird, it feels so natural to me. I didn't even know how I feel. I just hope things are okay. I wouldn't even put anything in the, it's natural. Cove nodded, he understood completely. I'm looking. A yawn forced an interruption in the statement. Cove was undeterred. I'm looking forward to this. He tucked his head into your neck. You felt his lashes close against your skin.
See you tomorrow.
Aww. His words were a whisper and you barely heard. That didn't sound like a whisper when he voice acted it, but it might not even have been that exactly. You might have just been guessing. Cove always had a habit of mumbling. It was okay either way, whether you heard it or only thought you heard. The sentiment was true regardless. Cove would see you tomorrow when he opened his eyes and the sunlight returned to your hometown of Sunset Bird. You comfortably drifted off to sleep and eagerly awaited seeing Cove tomorrow as well. Your eyes gently opened to see a dim, unfamiliar ceiling. You recalled where you were, a hotel room. Yawning, your muscles felt relaxed and warm enough that sleep threatened to pull you under again. Morning. Cove's voice brought you back into consciousness. The heat made sense now. You knew the comfortable weight against you was your boyfriend. His arm was draped around you, and his fingers were lightly drawing shapes on your pajamas. You twisted over to face him fully. Good morning. You laid your head down on the pillow again, getting lost in Cove's blue eyes. He hummed contentedly. Sleep well? He nodded, mentally noting the shapes he was creating were little stars, specifically up, down, to the side, and across his fingers moved. His fingers moved. It was soothing, and Cove's body was so reassuring. Yeah. Pulling him closer, you hugged your chin in the warm space between his shoulder and his neck. Cove nuzzled his cheek in your hair, holding you in return. Neither of you were making any moves to get up and actually start the day. It was sweet and comfortable to be wrapped up in Cove. You could indulge just a little while longer. Eventually, enough time flew by that there really weren't any minutes to spare. There were too many people waiting, so you both crawled out of the sheets together. Standing up, Cove took a few seconds to stretch. He glanced over at you with an animated expression. I'm really looking forward to your mom's anniversary dinner tonight. It's gonna be fun. I think so too. This whole trip is great, actually. But being here with everybody is like having another chance at being a kid. We can do all the stuff we used to, and all the things we never did but wanted to. Yeah, the world is our oyster, Cove. I do not want to think about getting late again. It's good to be back. I didn't think I was away enough to barely be homesick, but now that we're here, I get it. Yeah, it'll be great today when we're back together with everyone. Well, we better get back to it, huh? We've got a pretty full schedule ahead of us for your mom's big day. You're right. After that, you and Cove moved around each other, busily getting dressed and ready for the day. Okay. Light laughter and chatter filled the air the entire time. Bags were packed and phones were sought after. Okay. Oh, what the heck? No, tear. I don't know what I pressed! I didn't read the whole thing! Cove caught it with a noisy slap in between his two hands. He stared over at you with wide eyes, shrugging. You tried not to grin, but it was losing a battle. Remind me to remind you not to do that again. I'll walk over to get it next time. Worried still, he wiped off the phone screen on his shirt. He chuckled in agreement, knowing full well that you both would likely forget and play catch with the phones again at some point later. There was nothing else stopping either of you now. In minutes, you were hopping into your ride and heading back to the neighborhood. It was another beautiful summer day and sunset bird. You couldn't resist rolling the window down so you could absorb it all during the drive. Cove sat across the seat with you. Near the opposite window, his gaze was locked outside, catching all the old landmarks the vehicle was passing. Your spirits rose even higher the moment you made it home once more. Eager, you hopped out of the car and let yourself inside. Your moms knew you were going to be there for that morning. But that second you made it past the threshold, an excited scream nearly scared you out of your shoes. Lovely! Oh, she looks so pretty!
Bird, you're here! And guess what? I'm here too!
While your heart rate settled, a broad grin quickly took over your whole face. Since your cousin moved out on her own, he noticed that she really found her own groove. She was still the same loving person she'd always been on the other side, but she expressed herself in new ways. Lee was strong, kind, and smart. Over the past few years, she graduated college with a degree in history. The last year, she was pursuing her dreams, working towards getting into the music industry. You look great.
Thanks!
She beamed, putting her hands on her hips. Lee gave you a once over.
I'm not the only one.
Biting the inside of your cheek, you shook your head. Your skin warmed with embarrassment.
Don't be modest, I mean it. You look happy.
Lee leaned to the side to glance past you and meet Cove's eyes. The grin on her face widened while she waved.
Hi, Cove.
Hey, nice to see you, Lee.
I got it in practically a ton. It wasn't a whole thing, but at least I made it here alive.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, it's our sister. Lee exhaled and slumped her shoulders to emphasize how exhausting the ordeal was, but behind her, Liz made her way over. She crossed her arms at the scene.
I'm here too, in case you were wondering.
Nope. Nope. The peep popped loudly. You watched Liz's enduring stare at her teasing, and the demure smile on her face didn't change.
You can't just say, hello, nice to see you, you miss me like a normal sibling, can you?
Can you greet us like a normal person, Lizzie?
Geez, what a tough crowd. Still the same old bird. I'm glad you're home.
Another friendly shout rang out in the living room. It was as cheery as it ever was, from the many times you'd heard it over the years.
Good morning, family.
Your parents both came out from the side hall together. Oh, morning.
Now that everyone is here, I do have a little something to mention.
Ma put her hand lovingly on over her wife's. Mom leaned her head into Ma's with matching affection.
We're all still having dinner together, but Pam here actually made plans to take me to the brunch to celebrate our anniversary. Just the two of us.
Please, she hooked an arm around Ma's waist. Sorry to push you out, but I'm sure this group of mature grown-ups will be able to entertain themselves over an afternoon. We don't need to find a babysitter or anything.
Yeah, have more fun, moms.
Don't worry about it. Enjoy your brunch. This works out, actually. An afternoon open means that there's time to meet up with Terry and Randy. Hopefully, they're free today. Her two school friends still lived around the area. They knew you were coming for your mom's party, but when or how you might arrange to see each other wasn't set in stone. Definitely, we should call them.
I have some people I'd like to say hi to as well.
Liz had her cell phone in her hand, ready to get her plans made before she was even done speaking. Arching an eyebrow, she then directed the next part at Lee.
But you want to come along? We've missed out on a lot of cousin bonding time in the past. I'd love to. It would be an honor to hang out with you, Liz.
And whose fault is that? No, fairly is meant to be go with me. I hope you both have fun.
Don't worry, fun is my specialty.
Chuckling, Liz smirked.
Well, try not to have all the fun. Don't get into too much trouble.
You shook your head, and Liz winked. She then glanced back at her phone and rapidly typed a new text. Excellent, settled. She squeezed her wife's hand. Her gaze took in the whole room, ecstatic to have the house full again. Today is going to be a perfect day.
I think so too. I truly couldn't be happier with my wife, my children, and our whole beautiful family. It's a really wonderful anniversary.
There were awes and sweet comments from the group gathered around the couple of the hour. Seeing how your moms were, you couldn't help but the hope that when you got to be their age, that you could be as proud of your life as them. But Ma's attention then fell on you, and the look on your face twisted mischievously. A shiver shot down your spine.
This is a very good time of your year for a marriage, don't you think so?
With Snickers, all eyes eagerly slid over to you and go, oh, shocked at her implication, his cheeks burned red. There was no missing the meaning in Ma's words. She was clear as a bell, and she knew it. Your mind leapt to the plan that you would be creating. You had been making moves in the direction. You wondered if Cove agreed with Ma's words. You had been hoping for, waiting for him to ask. Your mind leapt to those ideas. It wasn't something you planned on, but maybe she was right. You realized recently you were happy with the relationship you had. You didn't want anything else now. But you stared straight ahead, trying to conceal the marriage thoughts spinning in your head. The last thing you wanted was to pressure him into acting before he was ready. You caught Cove shyly rubbing at the slight scar that was still visible on his arm. Oh god, he's stuttering, never quite reached full sentences. It instead turned into silence. Cove's brain was shutting down. Ma had sympathy for him.
You don't have to say anything, it's just a little thing to ponder.
At that, Cove's mouth snapped shut. With a stiff nod, he quickly glanced at you. If it was the only two of you here, you got the impression he would have had something to say. For now, meaningful look was all there was.
Right there, let's get back to what we were doing.
After that, you enthusiastically began setting up plans to meet up with your friends. They were both able to come see you, having kept their schedules free for this, and you couldn't wait. Cove was also speedily sending texts to get messages. Since he conveyed the plan to Terry and Randy, you managed that he was letting his parents know about what he was going to be up to. The group continued to chat and catch up until it was time for your mom's brunch and your big meet up with your friends. Soon enough, everyone was out the door looking forward to the fun-filled afternoons and the dinner later that night. Once outside on the neighborhood street, you looked at Cove. He stood at your side with a bent smile. Terry and Randy were driving into the town while you and Cove were traveling on foot to meet them at the easier-to-reach spots. Man, we really are kids in Sunset Bird again, having to rely on other people who actually have cars to really go anywhere. Now we're stuck walking to whatever is nearby. You laughed. You nodded along in agreement. No, we're reverted back to infancy. A snort was followed by a true laughter from Cove. Teasingly, you pouted. This isn't funny, Cove. I don't want to be a baby again. I didn't realize we were regressing that seriously. He shrugged, then stuck his hands in his pockets. The thought of being little again made you shiver. I couldn't go back to that. I like being my currently. I like you too. Let's go. He bounced forward several steps, then shot Cove a playful look over your shoulder. With that, the two of you began your trip down the old road. It was a casual stroll into town, and before you knew it, you were at one of the largest parking lots in Sunset Bird. It was the one that used to have the little crepe stall. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. I think this is a good place to stop. I'm not really sure how long step 4 is, because this is technically an epilogue, and usually there are several events that happen in each step. I'm not sure if step 4 is gonna be different, but yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. So I'll be streaming this game on Saturday, but I'm streaming tomorrow. I'm gonna be streaming 2 games on Itch.io tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And it's not dating sim games. Well, actually, one of them is. One of them technically is. I think. Yeah, no, one of them is. The other one is like a horror game, so yeah, I'm excited for both of those. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I really like the ending of this game though. This was a really good game. I'm wondering how the epilogue is gonna end, but that was the ending of Step 3 was really good. Yeah, this is like one of the, I think like one of the most detailed like and best visual novel games I've actually played in like in the entirety of me playing visual novels. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna end stream here. I hope you guys have like a good night or good day wherever you are. Bye.